Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chapter 6 of Story 2 of the Werewolf the Forsaken Chronicle Very Angry Dogs with Storyteller Chris Allen. Um, I hope everyone had a great holiday. We're really happy that you guys can be with us today. We hope you enjoy the game as usual. I'm not going to go on and on here, though. I'm going to be kicking it over to Chris for a normal recap. Chris, why don't you take it away?
Hello, hello. Yes, well, it's been 2 weeks since last time. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And what happened last time? Well, it was quite a one, wasn't it? We had a prophetic dream for Thornbreaker, revealing parts of the history of the sacred place upon the hill, where um, they saw werewolves of the past destroying and burning things of black darkness, of void, and they dug into a bit of detail about what was going on up there, with it being a place of thinness, not between this world and the spirit world, but this world and somewhere else that Stormbringer tried to push through to but couldn't quite manage. While the pack were sort of up to shenanigans, the Johnny went to make a deal with the Colopex, and I can't remember exactly what the deal was on for you gaining.
Gift of
Was it?
warding.
Yeah, that was it. To get a gift of warding, so you could. Well, that was it. So you could ward the place effectively, because you're a bit worried that humans were going to come wandering in. You didn't really want that. In return for which, you agreed that the pack would not attack Mistress Tinblood, who that is. You don't know, but Spirit, apparently an ally of the Colopex. The situation got slightly out of control when well, let me just check his name, because I had trouble tracking down his name last time on my notes, and this time I have, however, found it. The touchstone, the Rahalunim touchstone of Stormbringer, Arohira. The pack called Arohira for aid and information, especially since they had reason to believe that the spirit patron, whatever was behind Hawkhurst, may be imprisoning or somehow doing something horrible to loons. Arahira had to get there, because you're in the flesh. Arahira had to come there via a locust and by traveling through the shadow first. It wasn't his phase, so he was weak as well. And as a result, when he ended up there, he was shortly to be pursued by a cavalcade of masked fear spirits trying to get him. So that ended up, while he had some information for you, that then ended up in a bit of a panic situation on the hilltop trying to protect him. The spirits you called to, you found Dulish, one of the old three, who was more interested than helpful. And in the end, Harmonious Flame had the suggestion that, I remember what Stormbringer. Harmonious Flame had the suggestion that Arahira fetter to somebody and hide within their soul, their spirit, their flesh, to hide from the oncoming fear spirits. It wasn't massively keen on doing so. Stormbringer wasn't massively keen on doing so, because obviously for Stormlords, they're not massively keen on spirits doing that sort of thing. Thornbreaker really didn't want to try and back down and run from this confrontation, didn't want the spirit to have to do so. So in the end, Arahira fettered to Thornbreaker to hide from the fear spirits. This worked out, although it made Thornbreaker feel like shit and made Stormbringer quite unhappy for various reasons. And then once the fear spirits were gone, you were able to send your ally back. Well, he sent himself back through the nearest locust to head back up to the sky, having done his part. As part of that, Johnny ended up was racing up to the hilltop trying to help people when he heard Thornbreaker do his howl to try and call on spiritual aid, I think. And that made Johnny death rage. Johnny nearly started slaughtering a whole load of cows. Harmonious Flame put a stop to that by switching his death rage off. The herd of cows decided they wanted to try and trample this thing that was in their field now. So Stormbringer raced down and put himself between Johnny and herd. It was all a bit of a sort of clusterfuck, really. A lot of what happened was a clusterfuck. It came out okay in the end. Outcomes include Harmonious Flame, which is the use of the gift No Name, now knowing the name of the Spirit Lord, the Spirit Noble, that is masking and controlling the fear, well, influencing the fear spirits, namely the Gildan Eortha, Sins Buried Deep. And Harmonious Flame correctly guessed that Gildan Eortha is Old English, and after a bit of research, it's Old English for guilty earth. The pack had gained a little bit of information from the interactions they'd had with the various spirits involved. They've secured and now maze warded dug open the lower part of the barrow that has the sacred place within it, and are now gathering up to head into town to go to the Possession nightclub to follow up on leads relating to what your wolf-blooded Mary has discovered, relating to the missing drugs, that specifically the name of the drug, the County Lines drug courier that the Beshilu called out was Connie Maller. She's obviously dead, but you also know that you've heard she's disappeared with a shipment of drugs, and most people aren't sure what's happened to her, although you do know, you didn't know what happened to the drugs. You're also going to, I think, just look up generally occult stuff relating to anything relating to Hawkhurst or any useful information you may be able to get out of the situation. And of course, you're going out for night out as well, especially Stormbringer, who has gathered up his buds, his old rugby society rugby club friends, and where we left off last time, he was surrounded by his friends in a pub, soaking up that kind of human connection that he hasn't got an awful lot of recently. Johnny, Harmonious Flame, and Thornbreaker have put on their glad rags, getting into the pickup to go into town.
Oh, we got taxi.
You got taxi. That was it. Stormbringer took the pickup. The rest of you are going by taxi, and so. Yeah, a bit. Oh, did you run? Okay, yeah. So, but the rest of you got taxi in. A bit of chaos, a bit of mess, more information gained, more trouble stirred up. But now, tonight, it is a cool spring night. The storm has passed. That Stormbringer conjured up. It's finally gone. So the rain has ceased to patter down, and it's returning to the weather it should have been, which is fairly cool and clear. Stormbringer is in the golden warmth of a friendly, decent pub in one of the few decent pubs in Gleesham, surrounded by the pearly lads from uni he knew, who have all been moving on to the next stage of their lives, and are cheerfully drinking, swapping stories. And I imagine for Stormbringer, there may be a slight sense, even with the connection, there's also that slight sense of disconnection. These people are all normal humans, none of them are wolf-blooded, and they are talking about, these are all young men, just not long out of university, moving on with their lives, and their lives are generally moving on in better directions for a human than yours, whereas yours is moving into a career path of bloodshed, slaughter, and spirits, and you can't really tell them that. So when you get, you make John, Jack Borrowdale, who is no longer in a sling after he got hit with the metaphysical glancing strike that struck you, is there talking about how he's working for his dad at some, so he's got a rich dad, he's moved straight into sort of a sweet role at his dad's firm, and he's making lots of money and stuff, and the other guy is doing this and that, and that kind of thing's coming through. It's not, the connection is perhaps a bit strange for Stormbringer there. The other three packed into a taxi. To your enhanced werewolf senses, the taxi smells of vomit, urine, and lots of cleaning fluid, as well as sweat. And old cracked, the faux leather of the seats, as the pudgy white chap driving you in makes mumbles some minor small talk about the weather, and otherwise leaves you to your own devices, driving you into town. He drops you off not far down the street from Possession. So you're on the Gilcombe High Street, the Gilcombe end of the High Street, which is, the pub is up back off the High Street, down side street slightly. And this time of night, it's a normal sort of, it's a Friday night in a small English town. So there's folks around, few people, mostly going to the pubs and the small number of restaurants, and the thin stream of younger, not always younger, but mostly younger folks heading towards the few shitty clubs that the town has. Principally Possession, which is now opened up, and you can distantly hear the boom, 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 boom of thudding from the back streets from the club.
Did Johnny bring the replacement louver sunglasses?
No, but Johnny did bring a pair of sunglasses and a cap as to disguise himself in the club.
Oh, yeah. Dear.
And I presume you're wearing different clothes to when you raided the bathroom of Possession before.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick question for the pack. Obviously, Stormbringer is probably, I assume, going to go for a more organic entry to the club when your buddies are finished. Once they've got a few pints down them and they're like, let's go to the club, right? You're going to sort of go in with them. And the other three, I assume you're going in by yourselves, sort of, now you're there, basically.
Is there a cover charge to get in?
No, there isn't. But the drinks are quite expensive for how shit they are.
Well, that's a club for you.
Yeah. But there's not a fee. You don't have to pay to get in. The only thing is, there is a little bit of a queue because while Possession is shit, it is also the biggest nightclub, which is not hard, in Gleesham, and so it's where most people who want to go get boozed up and go to a club go. So there is a small, basically. Stormbringer's scoped out. So a couple of streets back is the not quite the fat L shape of the building which the club is in. And so it's an uninteresting kind of place. It's mostly very small windows on the first floor, but otherwise it's brick on the ground. Apart from the gaudy, multicolored lights spewing forth from the now open front door, which again is nothing ornate about the outside at all. With a couple of security, one security guy, one security woman, with their little I can't remember the name of the company, the accreditation, but you security guards have a little thing on them with the cards. Out front, a little queue going off down the wall of young men and women wearing too little to be outside in this kind of slightly chilly, wet weather, but largely oblivious to it because they've got solid beer jackets on by this point. They've drunk enough alcohol or taken other things, they don't care that much. So there's a quite susurrus of conversation there. Trio, Team Gonzo. Are you going to go for the? Are you going in low prep? Are you going to sit, grumble in the queue, and wait until you get your turn?
Team
I don't know. Johnny is kind of thinking about trying to sneak in past the queue. I was going to ask, can I pick up the trained observer merit, Chris, for 1 experience?
Is it 1 XP to get?
Yes.
So yes.
Cool. 9 again on perception checks, boys.
Goodbye, Fly. I'm just trying to find out what it does.
What does?
But I think it will
Bar
be
fly.
relevant in this situation.
It probably will be quite relevant, yeah. Because it's pretty much precisely for this kind of situation. Actually, you're a natural in bars and clubs and can procure an open invitation whenever you wish. Most characters would require roles to blend in social functions where they don't belong, you don't. Roles to identify you as an outsider suffer your socialize as a penalty. So, yeah, I mean, you. First off, you've dressed slightly better for this. Well, I'm not saying you've dressed finely. You are dressed very well to fit in, and you're there going, "Oh yeah, you remember that the guy of the two security guard is Gary. You actually went to school with him." So for the team, basically a short conversation later with Harmonious going, "Oh, hi Gary," and you go, "Oh, Marta, I haven't seen you." There's just a brief. He's not going to go into a convo with you out here in front. He basically waves your Eladoth packmate in, and you can go in with her as well if you want.
Sure.
So you turn up, you walk through. Marta walks to the front of the queue, goes, "Hey Gary," and then within 20 seconds you are in, leaving. And like this isn't this doesn't impress the people in the queue. Again, you're not at some VIP high-class club. You are at a really shit club, but it is Gleesham's really shit club, and they don't have anywhere else to go. So nonetheless, you get a certain amount of resentment from the club goers who have been who are not getting the special invite. Now, Johnny, were you waving your?
Oh, I was flipping them off at the grumbles.
Okay. So you are shortly after in.
Classic.
Now, the interior, the main room, as Stormbringer scoped out of Possession, it's basically a large rectangle, solid but brickwork walls with doors and places. There's a bar, there is a heaving dance floor area. I mean, it's a club. There's a few things around the edges, but principally down here, the ground floor is space, open space. Apart from the raised deck where you've got your DJ. With your sound systems banging out music so loud you can feel your teeth rattle in your jaws. There is stairs up to an upper level, which is where there is something akin to seating and tables and the like. It is by no means, and in fact, one thing you'll notice very quickly that this place does not have, at least openly, does not have anything like VIP areas or a door marked VIP or whatever. Anyone can walk up to the top of the upper seating. It's grungy. It stinks in here to your werewolf senses because it's filled with youths and not so youths. It stinks of sweat, hormones, alcohol. The amount of alcohol that's been spilled on the floor here, the amount of cleaning fluids that have been scrubbed in a desperate attempt to stop the floor being sticky. But nonetheless, as you walk across the wooden and the flooring, you can just get that very slight suction to your boots from the sheer accumulated, spilled booze and stuff on the floor. The walls are over the brickwork in an attempt to make it feel like there is some sort of decoration. There are some really shitty but quite big, basically art prints, which almost no one can see in the pulsing lights and light rigging anyway, so you're not quite sure why they bothered. Upstairs has slightly more softer lighting up there, like there's some slightly neon or lambent lighting, making it possible if you go up there and sit, you can see what's in front of you. Down here, you can't see an awful lot apart from people. The noise is ranked up too high. The people are crammed in too close. They smell. They're jostling with very little attention for where they're doing. And for werewolves, this is a bit more of an issue even than normal people. You can smell other things on the air. I would like perception checks.
Okay. How do I make this 9 again for rolls? Because I can do that now.
That is a good question. Maybe Thornbreaker, maybe Dan can teach you the eldritch ways of the 9 again coding.
Oh, sure, yeah. You want to do greater than 9, greater than equal to 8.
Greater than 9, greater than equal to 8.
Uh-oh. Sidekick is offline.
Has it gone splat?
Looks like.
No, Sidekick, don't do this to me.
Yeah, especially because I don't have any D10s here.
We can get other dice rolls if needed. Slightly unfortunate for Sidekick. But so just for any listeners or watchers, we use an online dice roller on our Discord channel, and it's possible that Sidekick has gone splat, which is the thing. Oh, hold on. Is it because... And that should be working. Let's try that. Yeah, so our dice bot isn't doing dice botty things. We'll be able to find some other online stuff. If you have, if you have physical dice to roll them. Otherwise, find a dice roller online and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll physical dice for now.
Yes, I will use. What is the group's choice? Do we want to use mage dice or vampire dice?
I think you've got a bit there, but I think it was mage or vampire dice.
That's correct.
I'm going to.
It's far more of a vampire environment.
This is a vampire's environment. I'm with you. I'm about it.
I'm
not hearing anybody say anything, but I think you're all hearing each other.
Yes.
Yeah, we're hearing each other.
I will disconnect and reconnect again. Sorry, we've had a slight issue with my thing.
I'm gonna go and grab my bucket of dice.
And I am going off brand. I am going off game line, and I'm going to Scion.
Whoa!
I don't have dice, so I grabbed the D&D dice roller.
I feel like this just became an advertisement for for the Chronicles of Darkness game lines. Like, have you seen this flashy dice?
My dice have all been stolen by Molly again.
Actually, hold on.
I found a chocolate coin left over from Christmas. Ha ha ha.
That's not even all my dice.
This isn't even my final form.
3 successes for me, Chris.
Which is exceptional for you, isn't it?
Correct.
Right, I'll wait for the other two to do their rolls, and I will tell you the outcome.
6. Okay, let's see. That is a big fat 0.
Okay, so Thornbreaker is clearly getting a bit overwhelmed coming in here. It's hammering your senses. There's even only in human form, sensory. There's too much hammering at you. This place is too loud, too smelly, too many people.
It's a dramatic failure.
You're just trying to keep
Oh my
your
god,
bearings.
yes, dramatic failure, please. Opting for a
Okay.
dramatic failure for a beat.
Right. In that case, let me just start checking through the conditions.
Oh my goodness. And it totally makes sense because Thornbreaker is definitely nature boy and not like, what, this is unnatural. What is this sorcery?
I have a question. What is your blood, aren't you, for your death rage trigger?
So blah blah blah. My blood is yes,
No,
human blood.
Your
Human
death
blood.
rage.
Yes.
What is the next step up for your trigger than the one you've currently got?
Oh, he's at Harmony 6, so...
So what do you have any? Are you currently affected by any of your death rage triggers?
My only specific death rage trigger would be swallowing human blood.
What's the next tier up on that?
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Let me see.
Tasting.
Oh, step up from swallowing is tasting?
Just any taste of it. Okay, so it's swallowing, tasting, smelling is the top one, is it?
I think so.
The reason I'm asking is because if you're dramatic failure, you are sufficiently. This whole place is blood. Yes,
no.
tasting is sufficiently just overloading and crowding and stressing you out that you are currently, until you get out of this club, you are affected by as if you were Harmony. So your next tier is you currently are affected by. You are vulnerable to being triggered for tasting as well as swallowing.
Okay.
Oh dear.
All right.
Okay, Chris, I
Essentially,
got
you are
5 successes.
aggravated.
I got an exceptional on that.
Okay, well, I'll give you the results of that when you get to the club.
Oh, I'm waiting
and I
online.
We're just waiting for Ag.
You guys
Those
are.
bastards got in before us, and we were there first.
Yeah, no, you guys are off in the pub. Your guys haven't even left the pub yet, but I'll keep yours in mind for when you turn up. So, because you were going to get there, you're going at the natural rate of when your buddies have had enough beer to start with to get themselves ready for a club.
Good pregame.
Yeah, exactly. So you're moving at an unhurried pace there.
Okay.
It's that sort of natural migration of rugby folks. It's a phenomenon to observe.
It is.
The rest
It
of them
is.
have sort of just got there and then gone straight in. So, yeah, what did you get, Ag? Didn't catch that. Okay, I think you said that you only got 2. It didn't come through very well. Yep. So you 3 head in. Thornbreaker you are like just getting barraged. Harmonious Flame, you're going, yeah, this looks more or less like it did back in the day. And Johnny, you are scoping out all the exits with like laser-like proficiency and precision. So, first off, there are quite a lot of doors going in and out of this place. Some of which are like staff only, but not all. You can smell other smells in the admixture, the heavy sense. You can smell the bodily smells. You don't in this form. You can't pick out what the drugs are, apart from the weed that's quite pungent around people, but you can smell from the intense sweat and stuff coming off other people that there are quite a few people who are on drugs. Glancing around, you and Harmonious Flame vaguely remember that this place while this place does not have a VIP section for such a laughable concept in Gleesham, what it does have, you heard, obviously you were too young to really be, is that basically there are back rooms that are where like regulars tend to go, not for the clubs, but for for probably for drugs and things like that. And with Johnny, you're going. There's a few people going in one of those doors back there. There's another guy. He's not dressed as a security bloke, but he looks like one, and has just been like giving a few people a nod to go in and out of there. As well as that, there is something. There are 2 very Johnny will pick up 2 more things. There are 2 very strange things. The first is you can smell. People shouldn't be smoking in here, right? Not only can you smell cigarette smoke, it is the nastiest smoke you have ever smelled. There's only little tendrils of it, but someone up there is smoking something absolutely disgusting. It smells like the scrapings out of a car's exhaust. I mean, what the hell are they doing to their lungs? You don't know. It is not tobacco. You are it just smells horrible and tarry. Additionally, you're glimpsing across the cloud, and you see someone pushing through and like heading through back towards one of the back areas. And you look at them and you're like, why is that person's head glowing? Like you just get a very brief glimpse of someone whose head you don't really see their head. There's just a glow, and you're like, no one around them seems to pay any attention. You only get that brief glimpse of someone with like there's just a lambent glow there. You're like, what? And no one else has clocked anything. But where the way the crowd is moving, they're pushing through. You think the brief glimpse got they are physically there, but for some reason something's weird. There's something weird with their head, which is there was a glow, and no one else seemed to be paying attention. But they are manifest and real. They're not like a spirit in Twilight.
Can I? Sorry,
Carry on.
go on. I was gonna say, can I still see this guy? Because I was gonna peer across the gauntlet.
You just get a very brief glimpse. Speaking of spirits in Twilight, writhing in as smoke over the crowd, there are gauzy, filmy things of there's like 2 or 3 very minor spirits in Twilight. They are filmy, red, hazy things that pulsate and thrum to heartbeats and the hammering of the music, and reach down and lick and touch the people below them in a sort of glistening sheen. And you see something in the crowd proper that's just flickering among dancers that is fleshy, but not fleshy in like gore nightmare kind of mode. No, fleshy, pulse shifting, slick with sweat, licking tongues. Something. It's probably a spirit of lust or the like. You're not sure, but you can't get a good read on it because the crowd is so full. Again, though, from the size and it doesn't look very large. What you've got some minor spirits here in Twilight. Then, well, generally don't think any spirits should be rambling around in Twilight. You don't know how they've got here from the other side of the gauntlet, but and they're not really that numerous, as you know. Places like this are precisely the kind of place you expect to be like gravitic for spirits that they would home in on.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom. But now it's thundering through your bones and your jaw and your blood.
Okay. So try. All right. So really shitty cigarette smoke is what he smells. He also notices the drug area in the back, and Harmonious Flame kind of confirms that. Multiple avenues of investigation. Oh. Johnny's kind of curious where all these drugs are coming from, so he's going to try to get himself into that area with, I guess, the dealers are back there, right? And so what Johnny's going to do is he's going to wait, and when somebody walks through, he's going to use closer than you think just to move himself past the guard and into that back room.
Okay. Are you planning to go by yourself then? Leave Harmonious Flame and Thornbreaker behind?
Well, I'm going to let him know what I'm doing, but like...
Okay. So, Harmonious Flame, on pack awareness, you can sense that Thornbreaker is... general state of mind is not good. He's not having a freak out or anything, but clearly, you can feel the pressure as he's feeling perhaps closed in. I don't know exactly how Thornbreaker's feeling, but you're going to get a tingle on the thing that there's a poor reaction taking place. Johnny has said he's going to go and try and get in the back. What are Thornbreaker and Harmonious Flame going to do?
Harmonious Flame turns to Thornbreaker and looks concerned. And leans close so that he can hear her through the music. Are you okay? Do you need some air?
He turns and scowls in her general direction and then looks around at the music and the bouncing throng of people. And he says, I've never been swallowed by anything, but I imagine this might be what it feels like.
Okay.
We could probably stay inside if John is going to try to sneak into the back rooms in case of any trouble. So if you can bear it, let's go and have a drink.
He nods, and he tries to follow her.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Johnny.
I was going to activate Slip Away, and I'm also
Okay.
going to activate Feet of Mist.
Okay. Figure out your rack of things. Pay your essence. Harmonious Flame, you're pushing your way through to the bar, and it is precisely the kind of thing where the entire bar has people crammed up around it trying to get their drinks. There's a bit of underlighting on the bar. It's a cheap, shoddy imitation of classy, stylish bars in other places. And the harried bar staff are there constantly taking people's drinks, and it's one of those bars where you have to lean forward, and you can try and just catch the bar person's eye, or you have to start like waving your man and generally trying to get there. The more aggressive you are in carving out your bit of domain at the bar, the better. But you can't sit at the bar and hang around here. It's not that kind of place. So you'll need to, if you want to seating, real seating is upstairs. Shoving in a bit of elbow work, Thornbreaker crammed in your wake, and then you eventually manage to flag down one of the bar women, and they will serve you whatever the drinks, whatever Thornbreaker and Harmless Flame are getting to drink.
I think we're gonna get 2 beers because they are large and we can nurse them for a while. It's not like we can get drunk anyway, so...
You can. It takes a bit of effort. Are you gonna... So what's your plan now with your beers? You gonna hit the dance floor, or are you gonna head upstairs?
Upstairs, I think. We will get a better look at what's going on, and maybe Thornbreaker will get a bit of a breather.
Oh, I wanted to see Thornbreaker botch a roll trying to dance.
Maybe later.
It's the Commander Shepard dance from Mass Effect.
You then have to navigate your way back through the crowd. Like, you're crammed in with your elbows, with your pint going. Basically, this is that you have to drink a bit of your pint before you go anywhere, because otherwise you are going to spill beer. So, and you probably spill some anyway, and you sort of then navigating your way towards stairs. Now, Johnny, meanwhile, split off, and you're heading towards this back door, which you've just slunk through the crowd far too easily. And if anyone was really paying any great attention, they'd go, how the fuck does he navigate a crammed crowd this easily? But you just see the spots to glide through. It's the last day of the no moon, and somehow those gaps, those holes simply are there for you. Through you glide. So what is your plan to get in? Are you going to literally just try and step in behind someone and go, don't mind me? Or are you going to just go, hey, are you trying to basically blend in and be like, oh yeah, I'm totally supposed to be going back here as well? Or...
No, I've got 2 options. Either I was going to try to delve through, or I was literally going to wait for the door to swing open and then use my auspice ability to teleport myself to the guy walking through behind him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it won't teleport you. You will simply be there by.
I would simply be there, but I somehow get in there. And then with Slip Away and Evasion and Feet of Mist activated, it's just very difficult for anyone to remember me as long as I don't do anything memorable.
Okay. So what are you doing then? What is your choice?
I kind of do want the auspice ability for later. So I'm gonna stealth through, and I'm also going to use my fading merit to give myself +3 to my stealth roll.
Okay, so basically, when the guy opens the door for a wiry woman, quite someone sharp, fine but sharp featured, jet black hair tied back, what looks too serious to be hanging around in a club, in her 30s, is about to go through, and basically, as she goes through, you wait for that point. You've been watching the doorman and how he just looks around. There's a point when he looks to the right before he's properly closed the door, and you're basically going to go whoop and just try and zip in there. When he in his blind spot, as it were.
Okay. 4 successes, Chris.
More than enough. It wouldn't be more than enough if this would normally be an abject failure for just about anybody, because it's absurd. You're almost the club is packed and it's noisy, but the guy's got a good area where he's watching because he doesn't want people sniffing back there. But it's just that moment where he just looks away, and you're like, yes, it's dark, it's noisy, there's lots of people moving, and through I go. And the woman also doesn't notice, because she's just striding on. You are into the back. The back area here, past the brick wall, you're into the next section of the building. And here the walls are, as Stormbringer sort of scoped out, they are mostly then past, you think, regular walls in this section, aside from the main structure of the thing. It leads off, there's one door immediately to your left, which just says staff only. And then it smells back here, but it smells more of smoke and things that have been burned in smoke and inhaled and that kind of thing. To your right, there's a short corridor, stuffy fading or peeling wallpaper, faded, scuffed up carpet pulling off the floor in places. But there are some people around. There's a couple of guys just hanging around, young lads in the corridor. They don't like dodging. They're smoking something that smells like good, fairly crappy but low quality of the wacky backy being inhaled there. There's a hurried looking bar staff person, like just going back, like pulling through the crate out on the side doors, a crate of beer, shuffling that through, and like, excuse me, as they sort of slips past you, and goes out the door that had just been closed. The woman you're following in the wake of, has just gone beelined down the corridor and then right, just in front of there's a faded poster of some looks like some London club, which is, you look at it like, hold on, it says Possession is the name of the club, but it's got like a London thing on it, and the quality of the poster is clearly way above market of anything this place could afford, but it's in like framed. She turns right, and she just knocks on the door and goes through. And then you are, apart from the guys smoking weed back here, who just give you incurious looks, but otherwise don't really seem to give a shit. You are here with there's various doors off this.
Johnny's just gonna try to blend in, see, give him a couple of pounds, see if he can bum a wacky tobacco cigarette.
By the way, guys, Sidekick is back up.
Okay.
Hurrah! Okay, so Johnny settles in to just try and be part of the scenery. Yeah, one of the guys you hand over a bit of cash, and one of the guys hands you a bit of weed. He's not a dealer. He's just like, oh yeah, no, I've got one. I feel cool, and just hands you some stuff there. He looks a bit curious as to why you're getting stuff off him, as if he's presume he'd expect to get someone else here, but and then you sit there, light it up, take a tuck. It's not nice. It's not like whatever the fuck whoever it is on the upper area is smoking. That is just wrong. That's not weed or marijuana. That is just vile. But this is just low grade shit, Not exactly. This place is not exactly classy in both the legal or illegal sides. And you settle down to watch for a bit. Stormbringer, you and your buddies, they've put a few pints back, and then Jack Brothers like, oh yeah, and shall we go on to Possession? I remember Possession. I haven't been there for years, but I haven't been there for a couple of years. It was shit then. It's probably shit now. Let's go. And there's a bit of getting a coats and people cheering. Your mate slapping on the back, going. One of them, Jerry, is there going, look, buddy. You got to. We got to get you back into like a team or something. Because I don't know what you're doing out here with this. I assume you've told them that you're working on this estate for some new estate owner or something. The new landowner. I know you're busy like working on that, but there's some good teams around here. We got to get you on something, get you competing. Like, you can come play with us, mate. Or against you. Either way is good. We got to get you back in the field, back on the pitch.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, that's that. He's not taking no for an answer, kind of thing. He's, oh yeah, we'll see when you're back on the pitch, fucking thundering down it, unstoppable, just fucking batting those guys aside like they're fucking flies. I remember you, man. You're unfucking stoppable. You're too good at this to be like not doing it.
Jack is gonna mutter under his breath. You have no idea.
And they clap together and they're getting coached and going, right, let's go see how shit Possession is. They seem delighted. They're going to go to a really shit club because they're not long out of being university students. This is their natural environment. People are knocked back the last of their beers, and someone starts singing the team's song from uni, drawing gazes from all the people in this pub, going like, what the fuck? As a bunch of early 20s lads go out and singing your team song, and it's probably a really awful rendition. Of it. Yeah,
I was like, please tell me it's a terrible rendition.
These guys are not exactly choristers. I mean, a couple of them are actual choir singers. One thing, but they are not singing in that sweet dulcet tone or deep tone right now. They are wailing out the anthem that you all used to sing on your university nights out. It's perhaps a big hit of nostalgia. Perhaps makes you think you should have brought the earbuds, or maybe you're giving it a full-throated accompaniment.
Yeah, why not? We'll sing along.
You go out singing, feeling that sort of heart rise with your brethren as you hit the streets, cold streets outside. Look up; it is cleared. Your beautiful storm clouds are nowhere to be seen now, and hitting the club. It takes a little while to get over there, and you do have to wait in the queue, but the queue's not very long by the time you get there. And when you get to the front of the queue, like the security woman there, like looks at this whole mob of guys who are cleared together, and instead of like trying to count you through in two drips, she goes, "I'll just get the fuck in here, and let's see your little mob in when you get to the front of the queue." We'll get to you in a little bit, because in the meantime, the others might manage to get themselves into trouble. We'll see what happens on the inside when you get there with your exceptional success as well.
No, that was me just.
Oh no, Stormbringer rolled one as well.
I did.
Harmonious Flame and Thornbreaker. You've gone upstairs nursing your drinks, and it is a pleasure to be out of the press of the blow. The smell gets worse because all the sweat and horribleness rises up into the rank, dank air of this place, and the fumes and the reek of alcohol. And someone's smoking something fucking awful up here. Now you get up. So you're up here. Again, this little upper area is peeling, carpet is peeling up around the edges and is really threadbare. Someone's tried to hang some classy prints on the walls, but they had no taste. And so they failed at making a selection of classy prints on the walls. The lighting is a dim set of slightly, neon pastel colours, but they just clash slightly rather than making that nice kind of gentle multicoloured glow. The people up here are a mixture. You've got young couples like crunched up at the end of seats, making out. You've got slightly older club goers. When I say older, I don't mean like old. I mean, some mid-late 20s folks, just like nursing drinks, basically treating it more like a pub, and then they can go and score some drugs or have a dance at some point. We can barely hear anything over the music for having discussions, so it's all like, yeah, no, I know, people really shouting at one another at point-blank range to get across. There is a couple of chaps who look a bit more out of place, one of whom is an older guy in jeans, like a biker jacket. You can't see any sort of tags or identities on it, but a guy who's frowning, slumped in the corner, nursing a big long beard, nursing his drink, but I'm not paying attention. The last person up here, clocked you as you come up, is the smoker. The person smoking this offensively foul stuff. Most people aren't paying attention, although they, it doesn't smell nice for them, but of course to you it's worse. He is lank, is the best way to describe him. He is skinny. His hair is black and, very black and kind of lank and greasy. He looks alarmingly pale and a little bit oily and greasy. White face. When I say white, I don't mean like skin, Caucasian European. I mean his face is alarmingly white, and you can see like the traceries of veins and stuff, and they just look slightly too purplish and off color for health. He is wearing a jacket and trousers that are a faded grey, and they suggest oily stains, but don't quite have them. His eyes are very dark. He is smoking a small cigarette that you don't understand how there is that much awfulness packed into it. And he sort of looks at you as you come up with a relatively placid expression, watches you as you come up with your drinks, looking for somewhere to sit, and then shrugs and goes back to looking out across the bar. He has a very small shot of something in front of him and a pack of an unmarked pack with these awful fucking cigarettes in them. You have never smelt something like this. It does not smell nice. It doesn't smell like nicotine. It just smells like he's burning tar or something. It's awful.
I'm gonna know the name of it. Him.
Okay. He does have a dot of anonymity, so it's a -1 penalty to your roll. but only -1. 2 successes. Okay. He is known as what was this? His name is Peter Bailey, or Tar Peter. He has a mixture of. He has some allies, including has a couple of dots and allies, hauliers, a couple of dots and allies, taxi, a couple of dots and allies, garage. He has anything 2 or 1.
What was that first one?
Hauliers, like lorry drivers. And he's got contacts for each of those as well. He does have dot contact in police. He has 2 dots in the status with werewolves of the Blackmore Vale.
So, seems normal, and then actually not that normal.
Right.
But you're only seeing 2 dots or less stuff. He may have higher dots and things as well.
But to our senses, he seems like a human.
He smells of tar. It's because he's breathed in the stuff.
Breaker and point the guy out and say, "That's someone interesting."
Define interesting.
Well, my moon gifts tell me that he has he's someone important amongst the werewolf community. Or 4. I don't think he's a werewolf himself.
I'll be right back.
How do you want to approach him?
Well, we probably shouldn't. I don't know. He might be a. What if it turns out he's acclaimed or something? That the other werewolves just let him be here because I don't know. He's useful.
Then we get to see a little action tonight.
So you will want to fight him?
That's generally my neutral ground when it comes to claimed.
Bad one.
But look, if this thing is important to other werewolves, maybe we shouldn't immediately leap into fighting with them with it.
Thornbreaker grunts quietly and then just nods.
Do you want to talk to it, Kim?
Do you think that's wise?
Lean backwards, just give Thornbreaker a look from top to bottom, see how he's jittery. Maybe not tonight, I say. We can ask about it in the morning. And then not someone from our pack, obviously.
Whatever he's smoking smells like shit, though.
Sharp. Okay, so I don't make any more eye contact with the guy. Try to ignore him.
Yeah, he glances at you as you take your own seats. Then I assume.
How much is his, we'll say, cigarette smoke bothering Thornbreaker right now?
I mean, that's up to you. It's not nice. It's flavouring the air up here in general. You can sit down and have your beer and not be like this place reeks anyway. It is another strand to the foul smell here, rather than overwhelming everything else. Although if you were next to him, it would be obviously very, very strong. It's not pleasant, certainly, but it's not like you will just be sitting there coughing and choking, going,
Right,
fuck,
so
you know.
he can tolerate it. All right, in that case, he sits down. with Harmonious
Okay.
Flame.
So you two plonk yourselves down up here. The club is heaving below to some music that is apparently cool with the kids these days. In as much as either of you have any clue what's down with the kids, it is heaving, thumping. People are having what passes for a good time in Gleesham. And what are you two? What are you two doing for your good time in Gleesham?
There we go.
Dancing, but Thornbreaker is not looking very well still.
Dan, are you laughing where I think you're laughing?
I may have to chaperone him a little. Yeah, so Harmonious Line is just sort of sitting there, glances down at the dance floor slightly longingly, then back at Thornbreaker. So
if she glances down slightly longingly, then I'm gonna have Thornbreaker make a wits plus empathy to see that she wants to be down there.
He needs to flex his empathy and connection to other people's muscles to be able to register interaction.
Yes.
She keeps looking at the dance floor. She must think there is a threat down there.
I was going to say 100%. Alright, let's see. Three successes.
Nice.
Okay. So, at that point, I guess Thornbreaker sees that she's looking longingly at the dance floor and says, you want to be down there in that?
I know it's not ideal, but I do sometimes like to, mix up with the people.
What's the appeal of that?
Harmonious Line makes a face. It's kind of hard to explain. It's it's like I am trying to get on the wavelength of them. Like, it's not exactly trying to remember how it was. Also, it's the music, and it's a lot. It's a lot to explain over one beer.
Does it?
I like the music. I like music, and I like the fact that it creates balance and harmonies. And this music is slightly different. I mean, she waves her hand in a kind of general, what even is this kind of way. But these people seem to be vibing with it, for lack of a better word. So, I like to just get in there in amongst the humans and just be.
Harmony is important, I suppose.
It's very important to me. That's why it is in my name.
Then I suppose we should go down there and find balance with them.
Thank you for humoring me. Come on.
He drains his entire beer.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Thornbreaker botch dancing roll.
you knock back your beers and head down to the dance floor. Now, Johnny, you're lurking around back there for a while, smoking the weed. It's not really having any effect on you, but it's more or less what you would expect. And a few people go back and forth, mostly going to the same door at the end that the woman at the first place came from. She's come back out again, walks past. She does give you a look as she passes. It quickly, she notices you're there. She looks at you in a slightly scrutinizing way. Possibly you think she's going, I haven't seen this person before, what are they doing here? But it quickly glazes over as you've grown accustomed to when you are, flexing your occult muscles. And she clearly doesn't have a reason to make anything of it at the time, so she will probably soon forget it. And she walks back past you then, clutching her handbag, small handbag, quite tightly, and then hits the main room. The heads back up the door. A few people go back and forth, mostly of no meaningful consequence. You think just regular young people.
Okay.
One guy comes past and slightly surprises you for a few reasons. Firstly, some of the characters coming back here, right? They don't look. They're mostly young men and women who are probably coming to score some drugs. This guy is wearing, like, what is he wearing for, like, a club? Maybe he is. This is his club here. So he comes in. Right, he's scrawny, big eyes, not like drug dilated, but quite big-eyed guy. He's wearing one of those like World War One and Two fighter ace caps. You know, the muffled things with there's no goggles on it, but it's the headgear. Jacket is loose open. On the jacket are buttons from like loads of different things. There's lots of political ones on there, but from various different political like smeared of stuff. You're sure there's a hammer and sickle. There's some ANCAP stuff. He's got all sorts of random shit. Like he's collected tags and buttons and badges from causes. Bright pink, somewhat stained shirt, saying with a UFO on it, saying "I believe," and he walks in. He's got a funny walk. Like the guy's, his body is moving in a way that you're pretty sure he's human, but he's moving with the kind of body of someone who has seen humans from a distance how they move and is trying to pilot a body. His legs just do a bit too much flailing on the way along. How this whole arrangement of joints doesn't crash into something is quite shocking. He looks like he's in his. Well, he looks like a badly aged 40-year-old, a guy who has been through a lot, quite weathered skin.
Oh my God! This is Steve Buscemi pretending to be a youth.
And he comes through, and he stops, looks at you with a really direct and has. You are not used to someone looking at you like this directly and intently. Was when you are cloaked in all this occult bullshit. Nudges you with an elbow. And goes, here for the trade, mate. And links again, and then walks on. And you're like, what? And he goes down to the end and then raps on the door, nods at you again in a very friendly way. He smells strongly of mints, he's always got breath mints, and a little bit of alcohol. And the door, and he goes in, and you're like.
Johnny mutters to him, he's going to get himself killed, and he puts out the cig, and he walks over to the door and raps on it. Chris, I was also going to ask, if I got a turn of scrutiny, could I use nowhere to run on him? And
yes, you can.
Can I apply my trained observer merit to get 9 again on this investigation roll, or
no? Because trained observer is only for perception checks.
Okay. Figured I'd ask.
Okay, make the roll.
Yep. Three successes.
Okay, so you scan him. You do the Sherlock Holmes thing of looking at the way he's dressed, catch the glints of fibre things. Right, he lives in a house near here, in Gilcombe itself. He's not despite his ragged look, he's not homeless. He's not out on the streets or living in a bedsit or living in some drug den. He smells quite a lot of just fairly musty. It's a place that probably has someone who cleans it. But there's an alarming lack of extravagance around him. He just lives in a house somewhere, very close, in Gilcombe itself, on the residential edge. And you're pretty sure it's just a normal house. You think he may live with somebody, but again, that might be the cleaner you're picking up. You are also pretty sure he has no other dedicated sites, bolt holes, and hiding places.
Okay, so this guy lives in a house.
And he's surprisingly mundane in that respect for someone who looks so not mundane. So the door's opened by a guy who's by a woman. She's lanky, painfully sort of weird. She's quite tall, very lanky. Dirty blonde hair, cigarette hanging out her mouth. She looks you up and down. on the other side of the room is it's more than one room. There's a room here where some folks are just hanging out, and basically they are on various drugs. You think it's not packed in here. A few people obviously got their drugs, taken them. They're now just chilling out in here. There's a small TV on. Some people sit in chairs, just like watching it, and they are just. I mean, most people when they take drugs do it to basically get high and fairly blissed out, and that's what these people are doing. There's nothing unusual about what's going on in here, and in fact, there's nothing obvious paraphernalia rise around. If police walked in here, they would go, "These people are all on drugs," but there are no obvious things lying around as evidence. But beyond that, there's more. There's a hall like, out the back of this place and into some other rooms. She looks you up and down as first time here.
I nod. I heard this is a place to be.
You're an American. Yeah, no, it is. Look, well, just head on through. Don't cause any trouble. It'll be fine. Yeah. As far as she's concerned, the fact you're back here means you presume you're already cleared whatever's supposed to be cleared. So she's like, "Yeah, just come on through. Yeah, just clean up your mess, all right?"
You're an American. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, strangely enough, I am an American. I am aware that I'm an American.
I am. And, how bad is it?
my deed name should just be the American.
Slightly further back, you can see
Pete,
the guy.
No, Pete, that's terrible. You should feel bad.
Slightly further back, you can see the guy in the fighter cap and the fighter. I can't remember what they're called. Just like he's in the whole back. He's having a quiet chat with a chap who does look more like who's just there in passing, and is just like handed him a small packet of something. And he goes, "Oh yeah, thanks, mate." And he's now coming back to this room and flops down into an armchair in the corner, gives you a cheerful nod. The guy comes up. This guy looks ratty, younger, but quite, like he's in intensity and slight jitteriness. He's ready to. He's looking for trouble in corners and wondering where the threat's going to come from. And he nods and and a couple of people like sitting around go, "All right, Jackie," and they get out and there's a quiet they're just chatting and so they pass him some money and he gets something out of his coat and the woman says to him, "Jackie, you going to be coming back later?" And he goes, yeah, I'll be back right later if anyone else wants any of the good shit, and he's just basically, he appears to have, rather than there being a bunch of people like ensconced here selling drugs, it's more a place you go, and if one of the people who sells drugs comes here, this is where they will, you can easily find them at the time. The guy's not a permanent fixture. He's just sort of passing through.
Okay. So Johnny's going to try to score some drugs, and I am going, since I didn't use my Iraq ability to move myself in here, I'm going to use it to make myself more favorable towards the guy.
You're going to crack open 2 doors. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. All right, give me a social maneuver. So you come on the guy, and he looks at you slightly suspicious because he hasn't seen you before. And you have that thing, because you're not a bar, you don't have the barfly merit, whereas Harmonious Flame probably knows all the street names for the drugs. You're there going, "Yes, hit me up with some of that
good stuff.
Salt."
I'd like some of the good drugs, my man.
Yes, please, sir. Would you furnish me with some illegal substances? I would like a Tide Pod, please. This is a streetwise plus manipulation or presence.
They both suck. One, I'm gonna willpower it to make it a 4d10. Pray for me, boys. 2 successes.
Nice.
No praying, you're buying drugs.
Okay, so you negotiate this drug buying with that slight awkwardness of a person who doesn't do drugs much and doesn't know the things to say and is in the wrong country going, "Yes, my man, furnish me with your Tide Pods." Some smappers, and he's like, "Okay, yeah. And you hand him some cash, he hands it over. And he just goes, he's doing his sales to other people. A couple of people come in and out.
And while I was interacting with him, I'm nowhere to running this guy.
Okay, give me the roll. For the baseline thing, you'll pick off of him. Again, he lives in Torncliffe, which is the shitty residential area, the housing estates area of town on the Western Hill. And how many successes you get, you'll know more about that. And No success. Okay, then all you get is like he's a local in that case. That you don't even get the regular. It's like yeah, he's a local guy, but that's about it. He's not like traveling in here from outside town. If there's no successes, sadly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he nods again, and he moves on to other people. You see the chap in the bomber jacket, bomber hat, like looking at you encouragingly as you step away with your drugs, giving you a big smile. He pats the chair next to him.
I'm gonna sit down next to him.
Hello, mate. Oh, so you've got yourself some recreation for the evening, then?
I did.
Oh, well, while you're here, you fancy some pepper? He's got something like a glistening packet out of his pocket.
Well, I'm bound to find the drug eventually that's gonna fuck with your physiology. All right.
Here you go. And he pops out one of these things. It's a sort of foil packet, but it's not like a. There's something odd about it anyway. He pops out this packet, slightly speckled kind of lozenge, and he goes, give it a crunch.
So Johnny's gonna unwrap it. He's gonna keep the wrapper in case it's one of those drug dealers that likes to stamp their shit wherever you're getting it from, and he's gonna pop it.
Okay, you go and crunch. He wasn't joking when he called it pepper, because you now have a mouthful of what tastes like ground pepper. There's something else in there as well, but the main thing is for a werewolf, this is quite a lot to take in because you have enhanced senses and you have just got a mouthful of, as far as you can tell, pepper. So it's that crunch. What? And he goes, yeah, it gives you a real hit, but don't worry, the mountain climbing gear comes in a bit. I've added a few other things in there. It won't do much, but it'll give you a few steps up, And you quite crunch. You're like, my mouth is trying to send alarm signals. It's not necessarily like super hot chili pepper, but a mouthful of pepper is still not the best time ever for a werewolf.
I look around. Did anyone leave a fucking beer in here or a drink or anything?
Yeah, there's a half-drained one next to you. Yeah, you quench sort of with the worst of it kind of out the way. He got smiling, encouraging at you. Yeah, see? Oh, it gives you a real kick. The pepper really wakes you up, right? And the rest of the stuff gets you in a good state of mind for the evening. And for the trade and the like. And yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it needs a lot of refinement. I'm not sure I'm happy with the brand of pepper I'm using. Using Aldi's own brand, and honestly, it's not as good as it could. I might have to go up market. Go to John Lewis or Waitrose. For that, I think on my next batch.
You ever think about homegrown? Homegrow some pepper.
There's a bunch of legislation around growing pepper plants and things like that. You got to be careful with it's the Native Species Act and all that.
Oh, okay. So you can't even grow it as a herb in your herb garden.
Well, no, you can, but not the kind of pepper we want. You're not the star of the master. You need. It's all I don't want to have to become a farmer, right?
I got you. Yeah, farming's kind of a shit gig.
Yeah. It probably. I mean, there's a lot of dung in it. Certainly, a lot of animal shit. Just make for good fertilizer, I understand, but Nah, it's the hydrangeas and the roses for me in my garden. I'm happy with that. Don't need to start growing pepper plants. Plus, where would I put them? I've inside it's all weed. Nowhere to grow pepper plants.
Is Johnny branching out into the world of drugs?
We're supporting small businesses.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe I can open a money laundering front for this guy.
You're terrible people. I love you all.
Turn the estate into a bed and breakfast.
Johnny, please give me a stamina plus primal urge roll.
Oh, fuck me.
As the after effects of the pepper hit.
Oh dear.
Oh god. I told you I was gonna find the one drug that fucks with werewolves. I am throwing a willpower on this because I don't trust this nonsense at all.
Dude, sack up and ride the wave.
No.
You wanted to try the drugster.
The
Deal with the
Tide
consequence.
Pods.
All right, brother. Let's see here. Do you want me potentially death raging in the back room of a
Yes.
CD club?
Yes, I do.
Then fuck you.
So far, chat wants to see you surrender to the drugs.
As somebody who rides me for giving in to curiosity.
Fuck you. 3 successes. Get out.
Okay, you feel buzzed and high. You can take drugs and be affected by them as a werewolf. They just tend not to have much effect, and they also tend to burn through fast. Whatever is given here, he's chill. You are feeling chill. You are feeling a little bit of detachment, but you feel good. Actually, you feel all right. It's just normal kind of things. Pepper did indeed wake you the fuck up by having a mouthful of ground pepper. The rest of it is there's more than one thing in here, but you're feeling pretty chill. You're not getting hit with anything psychedelic or hallucinogenic, anything weird like that. It's just a normal pepper in a way. You are going to burn through it fairly fast. It's not going to linger for long. It's not as intense as a human would be experiencing, but you're still experiencing it, and it will for a little bit, So he leans over and goes, anyway, he offers you his hand in a handshake.
I'm gonna shake his hand.
I'm Darag Pinko. And you are?
I just give him my first name. John.
John. Well, good name, John. Ominous, though. Just John.
Not giving you my friend's name yet, so it's just John for now.
Oh, that's understandable. I understand. What do you do, John?
Not much of anything. Kind of sort of landlord right now.
Oh, he gives a sort of mock. You're one of the enemy of the working class, then.
I try to be fair. I understand how hard it is.
I assume you're scalping your hapless tenants for more money. That you're squeezing for every drop of blood you can get from them, though, right?
No, not at all. I believe in being fair to my tenants.
So you're a hypocritical landlord. Ah, well, that's tolerable then, I guess.
After all, how many landlords do you know will do pepper with you?
That's true. I mean, a bit unusual for folk like you to be back here in the first place, but hey. Anyway, in between you having your boot on the throat of the working class, what do you do apart from that? What did you do?
I drifted a bit. I had some money that I just played with at the time, and I just went wherever I felt like it.
Ah, you're slumming it. That's why you're here. American. You see, the thing is, it's easy to tell if you're British. I'd know if you were like a high-class person slumming it. But my understanding is, you're American, so that makes it harder to tell whether you have any class or not, I guess.
I wouldn't say I have class.
Yeah, it's not the best place for it. He tries. Jimmy does try. He says, pointing at these shitty prints on the wall of but he just doesn't have any.
Yeah,
Is
there a club named Possession over in London? He's trying really hard to up the brand here, I see.
Yeah, no, it's Jimmy's old club was in London. In his glory days, In his glory days, I guess.
Got it. And then he came here to live in obscurity.
Oh, well, not the way he'd have it. He says he's living in grandeur and majesty. Everyone knows his name around here, after all. Which is fair, he says, looking around. I mean, we're here, aren't we?
No, we are.
Plus, he's very supportive of an artiste, so, I've got plenty of time for man.
I know this isn't the only spot in town. I heard of another one. Amber something? What was that?
He sort of clicks his finger. Yeah, Amber, it's out, it's Yeovil way, I think. Oh, no, that's not like it. That's like a VIP. That's like, That's for people with, well, I suppose it's for people like you, oppressive capitalist pig dog. I mean, that's for people who actually have money and, swanky cars and want somewhere to go and, indulge their sick fantasies of oppressing the lower class even more, drink lots of stuff that costs more than a year's pay, and tell one another about how great they are.
Huh.
I've never been there.
Got it. I wasn't 100% sure. I thought.
Yeah, no, it's not in this town. It's out west. It's out west. It's past. I can't remember the name place, but it's out in Yeovil. I mean, it's not really in the Vale proper. It's out actually. It's just in the. I think it's just over the border into Somerset. I mean, it's not very far. Up on a bus, you'll be there pretty quick. You might want to. He kind of looks at you over. Points at himself. You might want to go somewhere a bit more fashion sense before you go there, though, because, like I said, it is for people with proper class, I think, and they might not be too keen to let you in.
Yeah. No, yeah. Thanks for the advice.
Hey, you ever need fashion advice? You know where to come.
Fashion advice.
Jackie, right? He deals around here frequently.
Oh yeah, he's one of the boys' works. I mean, in a libertine, free-thinking community like Gleesham, people got to take their ups when they can get them, and sometimes their downs. But and there's a lot of folks who participate in the free market of psychonautry, and Jackie's a good lad, I think. I don't know much about him, to be honest. Yeah. But there's a few others as well who come around places like this if you need something to give you a bit of a pick-up and let you chill out for a while and forget about how awful life is in this world in which we are caught in a, global phenomenon of wealth extraction from the common people as our planet burns and the future of our species is choked off.
So,
it's why I climb unreal mountains, anything to get away from here.
So Johnny's going to try to use this guy to kind of introduce him to the other dealers so he can kind of hit them all with nowhere to run so he can get an idea of the dealers and then
the pack give me persuasion or manipulation plus socialize to basically hang and pump the information and get some more stuff out of this. And then we'll be once you get the result of that, we'll be flipping back to Stormbringer and his team hitting the club, ready to paint the town red. Hopefully not literally.
Right.
If I do, I fail my aspiration.
Sorry, boys.
That's true. Did you get no successes again?
I got no successes.
Okay, so after a bit of chatting with Dara, you learn a bit more about him, but he is you learn a bit about him. He's some weird fusion. He's quite hippie-like without being quite hippie. He said, he's the guy's weird. He's quite hard to pin down on certain details. He doesn't seem malevolent or particularly unpleasant. He's just kind of odd. You're pretty sure you've been sitting next to him. He's definitely not wolf-blooded. If he's not human, he's not human in a way you can't easily detect. But you think he's just some guy who's kind of weird and quite friendly. Yeah, so you sit there and where we'll pick up with you again, we'll be leaving off to get to others, is when Jimmy Gibbon, proprietor of Possession, swaggers in through the door with a pair of sadly not glitzy shuttered shades in his jacket, and comes with a companion that probably he and certainly none of the humans in the room can see. But we'll get back to that in a moment. In through the doors of Possession. 5 successes on that exceptional for that you rolled for Stormbringer. You come in, you take a deep breath. Yeah, this is precisely the kind of shitty club you and the boys would go to in Bournemouth and Poole and get blitzed and dance and see if you can pull some girl. And then you wake up the next day upside down, maybe in your room, unclear often. You'd have that period of reorientation when you wake up. And you have that moment where you're there going, yeah, this is the life. When you go, but it's to get that drunk these days is quite a lot of money's worth of beer, and these places rip you the fuck off. You breathe it in. It smells fucking awful. This is a shit club, even by shit club standards. Decorated by someone who has decided to flaunt their taste and class and has none of either. But it is the pit to which all the locals have accumulated. It's the kind of place where if you cannot find someone of your chosen orientation to go home with at the end of the night, it's because you are legally dead. Because in here, people have no standards. There is an air underlying the place of slight desperation, the desperation of a small, burgeoning town with minimal. It's odd because small towns like this shouldn't feel like this, but it feels like there's no hope. There's joy. There's the short-term joys and pleasures of people blitzing themselves here, but you just get the sense of slight hopelessness, and it just shouldn't be like this. People are throwing themselves into this, but there's an emptiness, a certain joy, deep joy that isn't here from your clubbing experiences. However, the place also just reeks of spilt beer, sweat, and drugs. You scan across. Firstly, you can pick out Thornbreaker and Harmonist Flame dancing. Harmonist Flame is getting into it. The music's, your standards for what's possible for dancing to a club are not very high anyway. She seems to be really getting into it from what you can see. By comparison, Thornbreaker looks a little bit, not stiff, but he looks awkward and uneasy. He looks like he's not in his element. Harmonist Flame is.
Got it.
Despite the fact you thought she'd be slightly too old for this kind of thing. Not that she's old, but not for this kind of thing. But she seems completely happy in her element. Thornbreaker looks like he's never been young enough for this.
Well, let's be honest. For his crowd, they're almost a little too old.
The other thing that you pick up is the smell. You can smell the thick, tarry scent of someone smoking something awful in the upper bracket. You can also pick out. You look across. You spend a few moments as the guys come in and someone goes, "Do you want a drink, mate? I'll go get to the bar." And people like giving their orders to get drinks rather because it's just easier for someone to go up and order a dozen pints and then have a couple of people help carry it out rather than have everyone go up and do it individually. Be here all fucking night otherwise. Although your guys are big and burly enough that that getting to and making space at the bar is a bit easier for them. They come in like a shockwave of unfamiliar people into this very, very local scene. People who do not know these folks, but know they are large, enthusiastic, and loud enough to be heard even over the music. And you take it in. Your pack members are over there. You can't see Johnny, but that's normal. He's a new moon. Someone is saying something awful. Something awful. The club is hip and happening by sounds things. Everyone's getting into it. No, the vibe is reasonable. That back there, you can see. You're looking, going, your orientation of what's inside this place is slightly wrong. You're like, no, that just doesn't seem quite right. This room is, as you expect, this big brick-walled room. But there's where the doors are is slightly off from your earlier caping where you thought they would be. But that one back there, that is clearly the place where people are going through to get their drugs or whatever, There's probably some people selling drugs actually on the floor in the corners, but that back there is if you like, the club sanctioned place to go and get your drugs. You take all this in, you breathe it in, you see the spirits in twilight here, the offensive little buggers, but they don't seem to be causing that much harm at the moment, at least. And then a pint is pressed into your hand of beer. It's passable beer, It's not great, but neither crap. And your mate's like, yeah. And some of them are heading to the dance floor. Some of them are just grabbing pints and heading upstairs to drink. Where do you want your night to take you, Stormbringer?
Down terrible avenues. So he's gonna. I think Stormbringer's gonna head up. I think I'm gonna head upstairs. But I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to walk past Thornbreaker and just look at him and be like, "Man, really fitting in, bud," and then going upstairs.
So you get the shape of your Rahu with a beer tightly clutched into its belly comes in, delivers that withering sentence, and then departs.
Thornbreaker gives him a look that screams, "Kill me," as he leaves.
Hey, Chris, is there something I can roll to just kind of muscle my way through the crowd? Have people
You don't
kind
need
of
to
part
roll
like
that.
the Red Sea?
You can muscle your way through it. People will. Your guys are fine. That effect's happening around you and the rugby guys because you're big burly chaps anyway. You're not having a big problem. Nonetheless, you should hold your pint ready because you are a veteran of clubs like this, and you know
Gotcha.
the errant elbow jog can come from anywhere.
So
Like
we're
here-
walking with the pint up
a
over my head
small
type
goblin. Yes, or you can hold it over your head if you want, which is it's in a way the safest, but the most catastrophically bad if it goes wrong.
thing. I know. I've seen that go catastrophically bad quite a few times in my days bouncing at the club.
So you head upstairs with a few of your lads who have decided they're not going to hit the floor. A few of them are like eyeing up some of the local women or just chatting about stuff. A couple of the guys are like they're not really that into dancing and all that shit anyway. One guy's already got married, so they're
I'm going to
sitting
very
down
gently
and
remind the guys that I live here.
Right. There's that
tear it up too bad.
calculating look passing among some of them of like, to what extent can we therefore get away with embarrassing him here with people who will remember?
Right.
But they don't actually clearly have a lot of ideas about how to do it at the moment because it's a shitty, loud, noisy club. They can't like draw attention to you or anything like that. So, but one of them pushes you another beer, goes, well, and it's your inauguration of your local club, and therefore in honour of your first night at your new local, down it, shoves you a pint to knock back.
Jack downs it in epically quick fashion.
There's like lots of cheer and clashing of pint glasses. It's their kind of thing. So they settle down to a bit of chatter of yeah, it's great. You have to really shout to really be heard. But the people and some of it's just really mundane stuff. One of the guys talking about he's getting into one of the local teams and he's going to go play soon. Another guy's talking about his work, or whatever. Mundane stuff that's slightly less student-y than it used to be because people have had to get on and get lives. Just down the way, you see this pallid man, greasy man smoking these horrible cigarettes. Again, he glances at you guys, but otherwise doesn't pay much attention. However, one of the mates is Jerry's there going, fucking hell, what is that guy smoking? It's enough to drop a horse dead, fuck. And he goes, I'm going to go and ask him for one. Gets up, goes over, leaning close to the guy. The guy looks at him curiously, and with your 5 and you're exceptional, you catch it. As the guy takes it away, and you realise the cigarette isn't lit. There is no flame to it.
He just stinks of that tarry.
There is smoke coming out of his mouth. Tarry smoke. But it is not coming out of the cigarette.
Is there anything that I can use to kind of see if he's being ridden by something?
So, if there is a spirit riding him, you may be able to see it if it's not fully anchored in, it's not in him. If you Sacred Hunt with the Stormlord benefit, you can definitely see it.
Right, I'm not doing that in the middle of a club.
No, but otherwise
Although
you just
technically I could.
You could perform a rite with your buddies here, figure out how you're going to hit the symbols. But just
hit the dance floor.
That's
what we got to do.
However, so the one thing is just to watch him and see if a spirit slips up and makes its presence known. However, if he was urged by a spirit fettered to him, then you would not expect him to be literally billowing breathfuls of tar unless it is using its influences directly on him. Which means he could be claimed, and there's no way to see that because at that point the spirit is fully fused with the body. Or he could be something else.
Okay.
He smiles slightly quizzically, hands one of the cigarettes to Jerry, and Jerry comes back, goes, yeah, no, he's a nice enough chap, actually. And sits down, gets his lighter out, lights this thing, and takes a puff. And he's like, I like one of the guys, give me that. Yeah, takes a puff. Doesn't even breathe in. He gets it in his mouth. He puffs out this. Like, what the fuck is that? And it gets sort of passed around. Is Stormbringer going to have a puff?
Jack's going to look at them like they're a bunch of idiots.
One of them offers him, do you want to try it? Don't know what's in it.
When in Rome.
Peer pressure.
You take a puff. As far as you can tell, this is basically some like tar saturated substance in there. It tastes like you have put your mouth to the exhaust of a car and gone. That is what it tastes like. And Jerry's like, yeah, the guy says he works in haulage, like, lorry drivers and shit. God, I guess they must get really fucking bored on the roads if they're smoking this shit. Oh, Jesus. People start to recover a bit from puffing this
That's terrible.
fucking awful shit.
It's terrible.
The man has watched slightly amusedly as you all puff on this cigarette that is not even what he's actually smoking, as you now know, because he's not smoking it, and then just returns back to idly watching over the crowd and chilling to the vibe as best you can tell. Down on the dance floor, Thornbreaker and Harmonious Flame, Stormbringer's headed upstairs with his lads. So he's here, he's safely ensconced. Doesn't appear that anyone's dead or hurt. Yeah, you're having your chill time. You just enjoying the club for now, or are you carrying on with your dance?
Awareness doesn't say that anyone is in trouble. Harmonious Flame will try to enjoy herself for a longer while.
Yeah. Okay, so you push Thornbreaker to breaking point out on the dance floor as he endures the excruciating experience. I mean, it's not that bad. I don't know whether Thornbreaker is someone who cares for dancing up a stool in the first place. It wouldn't be all that bad if it wasn't for the fact you're just feeling too sensory overloaded and too many people crushed in. It might be tolerable, but if you wish to humour Harmonious Flame and continue to dance for a while, then you may. Or you can go, I've had enough, man. Gotta get out of here, and stagger off the dance floor.
Trying to go hey, can you feel the beat and stuff? But then I think it's just gonna be too many people and too loud. So
did Harmonious Flame tell Thornbreaker? She did mention that guy seems connected to the local werewolves. Did you tell me anything else about any of his contacts or anything? No. Okay. All right. So he says, I think I need a breath or something, and he exits the dance floor and he goes back up to the second floor where it's a little quieter.
And the air is fouler.
And the air is fouler. And he ends up approaching the smoking gentleman.
Okay, so you see Stormbringer's buddies, but you're just leaving them be, presumably.
Yes, yeah. He doesn't know, Thornbreaker doesn't know if Stormbringer's even told him that he's got friends here. I think he doesn't want to blow that cover. So he goes over and he holds out his hand, gesturing to, I'm assuming there's a chair across from this guy, basically asking if it's free. Yeah,
it's a bench over the side, yeah. He looks up, nods.
Alright, so I am going to go ahead and activate Voice of Glory, because if this person is connected in any way to and has status with local werewolves, then Thornbreaker thinks it's important that maybe they cultivate some favor as well. And so, first impressions is presence and expression. Is that a first impression?
First impression depends on the situation, generally. If you want to make a good first impression, it would be probably presence plus persuasion.
Persuasion, okay. So that'll be 7 dice for me. That is an exceptional 5 successes.
Nice.
Okay, let me just note that.
So, despite the inner turmoil that Thornbreaker is feeling, he manages to produce a completely disingenuous smile and sits himself down and says, I hear that you're someone worth knowing in the area. My name is... He looks around and says, Bill, but my friends call me Thornbreaker.
He looks up at you as you approach with this sort of uninterested expression at first. He watches you as you sit down, you sadly introduce himself. He nods with a certain amount of satisfaction at your introduction. So, nice to meet you. Well, they call me Tar Peter. And he billows out this thin stream of tar. You can see up close his skin just looks wrong. Yeah, the veins are too dark and the skin too almost greasy looking. He doesn't look like... It's weird. It has a glistening sheen, but you don't think he's actually greasy. He just looks wrong.
Am I right in my understanding that you are well received among my people?
I have agreements with many of your people here, mutually beneficial ones, but I don't know you or your pack. And my understanding is the people I had a deal with here aren't here anymore. Well, not that she's been relevant to my work, to my business for a long time.
Yes.
As for the other one, I try and keep out from his off. I try to keep off his radar.
Yes, I know precisely who you're talking about. We did seize control of the Old Wolf's territory not too long ago.
Well, good for you, he says, almost cautiously, but I'm happy to talk to you now that you're here. Have you come to seek me out, or is this purely a coincidental passing meeting?
Largely coincidental, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it may be relevant to why we're here. There was a young woman who was claimed as a host by the Bechelou not long ago.
A shame for her, I would imagine.
Yes, and it happened in this club. Would you know anything about it?
He takes a deep breath. Sort of lets it out through the corner of his mouth. There's a thin sift of fumes coming up. I'd heard something was awry.
Well, it turns out that she was a drug runner of sorts, and a shipment has gone missing. I don't want to overstep my bounds and assume that you have anything to do with that sort of industry, but would you know anything about that?
I know the carters shuffle in drugs in and out of this place like a depot, going to various other areas across the counties. It's my line of business, in a manner of speaking, though I usually deal in a different kind of cargo. But I'd heard that something had gone awry, gone missing.
Out of curiosity... Oh, sorry. Go on.
Go on.
Out of curiosity, what sort of cargo do you deal with?
Well, I will talk about the kind that's many. I will talk particularly. Let's talk about the kind that your kind are most interested in. People who need to be moved somewhere else, usually for their own safety. People who need somewhere to lie low. That is, after all, what the Veil's all about, isn't it? Your packs don't always have a reliable means of transit, which is where I come in.
Yes, that is interesting. And we may have use for you in the near future.
He takes another deep draw of his cigarette. Yes. If you don't mind me asking, to who have you sworn your allegiance? Your pack?
The Unconquered Raven.
No, I mean, he waves. To the moon, or against her?
To the moon.
Not that I see there's much difference in the Veil, but Do you have any of the adherents of Winterwolf among you?
We do.
That's unfortunate. There haven't been any in the Vale till now, apart from those taking advantage of what the Vale has to offer, the kind of people I sometimes would transport, but of course I never transport them. They tend to take issue with my business partnership.
My packmates and I are not extreme in our interpretation of the oath. We care more about intent than some of our brethren.
Yes. Still, the Moonsworn are sometimes upset at my presence. He gives a slight smile. For all I know, you're planning to try and kill me as soon as I leave. I'd ask you not to, obviously, but in case it sways your judgment, I would like you to know that this was a willing business partnership.
It does make a difference.
Well, if you're interested in this missing drug shipment, you say it was a host? So it was a Shartha took the courier?
Yes. And the shipment has still
Now,
disappeared, which is strange to us.
you see, a certain other werewolf has his claws in some of the county lines business. One of the reasons I tend to avoid getting directly involved in that sort of thing. The money can be good, but the risks are not my preferred line of exposure to danger. Nonetheless, yes, I've heard there's been some concern there. I hadn't heard as to the drugs popping up anywhere else, arriving at a new destination. But maybe suggestions that they are in transit. Someone knows where they are, and someone has been talking enough for others to know. But I don't know the ultimate destination that they will be at.
Do you know the potential importance of this shipment?
He shrugs. It's drugs. I have heard. It's drugs. It's cargo. Does it matter what's in it, or does it matter where it arrives?
Potentially both, but I was curious as to whether there was anything unusual about this particular shipment that would lead it to go missing.
I don't know. You'd probably have to ask Rue, since I imagine that's who's done it.
Rue.
Yes. You said a host had taken the courier, and well, I'm assuming it was he who did it. He looks at your sort of expression of like not registering anything clearly. A host, the shard called Rue. I know that he arrived here recently. As I said, I deal in matters of transit. It's my business to know these kind of things. And he certainly needed transit.
Why did he need transit?
He needed to get where he wanted to go, which was here. This place, the Vale, after all, is unusual in that respect. I think... Many of the people who come to the Vale or pass through are on their way somewhere else. What's important is they come through here so that they can be hidden, but they're on their way somewhere else. For him, this place is the destination. He wouldn't confide in me all the details, but he did want to know about another old one of his kind around here.
Yes.
So I assume they have an alliance or a score to settle.
The latter seems to be the case.
Yeah, unfortunate for that host then.
What else can you tell me of Rue?
He gives a Gallic shrug, you know. Had to come over from France or Germany, one of the European countries. But then, the way I hear it, he's not the only one to have done that of late. The hosts usually move hither and thither as their manic propensities see fit, but there are some who have more of a planned journey in mind. The way I hear it, the other one, also chose here as a destination some time ago. He's following in her footsteps, in a manner of speaking. Probably coming from the same place.
Interesting. This has been very helpful.
To be clear, I think it's worth being helpful to you because I don't want to have to run the gauntlet every time I pass through the center of the Vale. I would appreciate it if you take this helpfulness and consider it something to be repaid in terms of civility towards me.
I can guarantee you that I will deter our packmate, who is a sworn of Winterwolf, from taking any action against you.
Oh, I wouldn't want to impinge on your pack and cause you trouble, but I think at some time we should come to an agreement like I have with the other packs.
Certainly. I'll discuss it with the rest of my pack. Thank you, Tarpeter.
Enjoy the club.
He smiles. And
He pauses a kind of what passes for the club.
As you're getting up to go, he just sort of, Bill, he says, just to catch attention. He has to say it loud enough to catch attention. Do you know why I'm here?
No, why?
Well, this is the closest thing to neutral ground available in this puddle of a town. There's an unpleasant spirit noble that is more or less rules this place now. This place in the shadow is warded. Harder for it to get its grip here. Have you met the proprietor yet?
Not personally, but my packmates have.
You should probably introduce yourself to it at some point. It's a survivor to still cling on to its power here, despite the whole town being gathered up under the others' influence. I don't know if it'll be helpful to you or not. I don't know if you'll want to kill it or not. But I'd appreciate if this club did not become a bloodbath or be wrecked spiritually or physically. It's a nice place to stop for a smoke.
Thornbreaker nods. There's the potential for us to use this place as a neutral ground to speak with others of your kind as well. We will do everything we can to keep it that way.
Well, the only other thing I'll tell you, or the only thing I have to say to you now, then, I guess, is watch out for Mr. Sparkles.
Sounds like the name of a cat.
Yeah, Thornbreaker frowns slightly at the vagary of the warning, but appreciates it as a warning nonetheless, and nods, and then turns and leaves Torpedo.
Okay. So are you going back down to the dance floor? Or are you going to try
as he does, he tries to catch Stormbringer's eye, and then gives his trademark stern frown of "There's things we need to talk about eventually," and then he walks down the stairs.
Yeah, Stormbringer, your night's going quite well. Lads are chatting. One of the guys is in a corner chatting to some local young woman who seems quite happy to have the attention. They're both completely plastered, so hey, most of the rest are still. Some of the guys have come up from the dance floor to get a drink and a chill. A few others have gone down. It's pleasant and amiable enough. Are you hoping to get anything out of your hanging out with your buds tonight? Is there anything goals, or is it just chill and socialise?
Chill and socialise.
Yeah, it's quite a nice change. Thornbreaker has gone and chatted to Mr. Not Smoking Cigarettes, and then gives you that look of like, we need to talk at some point in the past. But there doesn't seem to be any major urgency going down, and no one's throwing down and fighting. So, there's no demands or needs on your time, really.
So there is one thing that he's going to do really quick, which is he's going to just shoot a quick text out to the leader of the local Stormlords, which I had mentioned to you about why I wanted to do that. He's just going to try and set that up while he's relaxing and not angry.
You're far off the text to the to basically your mentors back in Bournemouth. What are you asking about, basically?
Just that I need counsel. I'd like to set a meet for counsel.
Yeah. Okay. So you fire that off, and you get a couple of texts back and forth where your mentor's like, where are you now? And presumably say, I am now in Blackmore Vale. So, and then you get a thing of how basically they realize how urgent.
Not the end of the world.
Okay, we'll find you. They say that they'll find some time and someone will be in contact soon, but they're not going to be like, desperately rushing because it's life and death situation. Okay. Harmonious Flame dancing away. Thornbreaker back down to the dance floor. Stormbringer chilling with your buds. Johnny. Jimmy Gibbon has swaggered into the room with his vest on under this, not his shirt, under his jacket, his pinstripe jacket. He's wearing glasses that are slightly nice. They're obviously designer shades, but they're not what he was wearing. Grinning with his too many gleaming metal teeth, still sparkling, probably not diamond crystal one in there. And he swaggers in, and drifting immediately, like half a step back to one side, is a spirit. It is strange. It's stretched out. It's almost slightly humanoid, but it has no head or upper part of shoulders. They're simply floating spheres, pulsing threads of spirit matter. It looks fleshy in a way, but like the spirits of lust and like you saw out on the dance floor, it's some of that. There's some gauziness to it, but it also has a phosphorescence, an iridescence over it. You look at it and it looks almost beautiful in its alien ghastliness. And just seeing it, you get a slight sense in your mouth of salivating, like you feel something like hunger. Is it actually? It might just be hunger, but it might not. Just a faint sense in your body just from its presence. It's not the kind of raw heat of a lust spirit. It's something else, but something related to that kind of thing. And its shimmering presence draped, flowing behind it, these threads of iridescence, which gently touch the other people as it passes, not even reaching out to touch bodies, but just flowing almost naturally to touch them. Jimmy comes in, goes, "Hello, lads!" He reads down to fist bump Dara, then looks, and he's coming over. He looks at you and has that slight squinting look of his brain trying to make the connection of where he might have started. Have I seen this person?
I just to diffuse it, Johnny offers him some drugs.
Oh no, not on the. Thank you for your kind offer, but not on the job, mate. The spirit, however, has basically gone and looked. It's not looking. It has no eyes, but it has turned to face you, and its attention is very much on you.
I kind of do a gesture with my eyes that I want to conversate with the spirit somewhere else.
Jimmy is still looking at you with the slight squint of someone who's going like, wait a minute. But he's quite distracted. He has a quick chat with one of the guys. Goes, yeah, everyone having a good evening. Yeah, well, we're having a good. But the club's pumping. Yeah, and he keeps on looking at you slightly as if going, wait, is that? But anyway, I hope you're having a good time. Don't be backwards about coming forwards if you need anything, lads. No, I'm just coming through. I'm checking all my favourite customers having a good time. Yeah, he looks at you and that's like squint. The spirit says in a voice like honey, what do you want? It just echoes out of that mass of pulsating spirit matter at the top.
So I don't want to speak first tongue out in public. So Johnny with his finger kind of just traces out like whatever first tongue is for information.
The spirit pauses. Like Johnny goes, "Have I seen you?" Jimmy goes, "Have I seen you somewhere before, mate?" And the spirit goes, "You want information?"
I turn to Jimmy. I have to defuse this right now really quick. No. Can't say I recognized you.
Jimmy goes, he's clearly going, I think what to say, and the spirit goes, "You do not want information? Then what do you want?"
God damn it. I go to Jimmy. Pardon me, I need to use the loo. And I get up. And I gesture for the spirit to follow me as I head to...
Okay. You head down the thing hoping to find a loo, which thankfully you find. When you glance back, the spirit is hanging there next to him. And he's taken a few steps towards you, and she follows him quite closely when he does. But she doesn't. She drifts in front of him, but it rather does not come to you. So you pop into the loo, and the spirit doesn't turn up.
Okay. I do my business, wash my hands.
Yep.
Come out.
He's still up there chatting to people in the little side room and glancing your way, and the spirit says, "If you want anything, then tell him you desire to speak with him."
Mind if we chat in private? I turn to Jimmy.
He looks at you and has a look of like, he looks like he's gonna, you think he's putting it together. He's no, I think you are that guy who bum rushed me out the fucking toilets, and he's about to like go, "You know what, mate?" And there's the spirit just shivers slightly, and he goes, "Yeah, all right, fine." Against my better judgment, but fine. And as the spirit just influences him, and he nods and he goes, "Come on, this way to my office." Leads you around the corner into his office. It's a dingy little place, poorly lit. The bulb, it shouldn't be poorly lit, but no one's replaced most of the bulbs. Desk, crappy laptop on it, piles of stuff in jumbled things, and paraphernalia. Shitloads of paraphernalia. Posters from this London Possession Club, like awards, certificates, things like that. Like stuff like Mr. Gibbon has been awarded the fine, the fine management, all this stuff. Like this guy has got walls covered, absolutely soaked in the signs that people thought he was hot shit, and he has the medals that were to prove it. It's all looking a little bit faded, but the dates aren't that old. We're talking 3-4 years old at the latest of the newest stuff. It's not like we're talking decades past. But it's all rather sad. It's like a grotto to himself, but the man in front of you in this dingy club he's running here does not seem like anything but a very pale reflection of what this is all telling you. So he looks at you, nods, sits down, and just goes, "I do fucking know you." And the spirit says, "We can." It says again, "Now, what do you want?"
First, to kind of just, well, I'll handle that later. Really confused. I turn to the spirit. I hear that there are other hosts here.
Jimmy looks slightly confused at you, and then he sort of slightly twitches, and he goes, "Fine, I didn't fucking smoke." Gets out a pack of cigarette, pops one out. It's quite a nice change compared to the horrible tarry shit in the other room. This is a normal cigarette, you know. Pops in, lights it, and then takes a breath, and then basically just blisses out in a way that you shouldn't get from a cigarette. He just takes back. He takes that draw of deep pleasure from having a lungful of nicotine, and then he just stays in that exact moment. Like, he's occasionally puffing, but he's just literally, like, he's just clocked out mentally. It's as if he is just experiencing that. The spirit shivers and says, "So what you said you wanted? Did you say you'd heard about hosts? Was that what you said?"
I said I heard about other hosts here.
What do you want?
The woman they possessed, what did she have that was so important to these Veshalu?
Is that what you want? You want what she had?
I nod. I also want to know where it came from.
Ah. You want something. Then I can help you with it. Who are you, mongrel?
I possess no deed name yet. Johnny Galloway. My great aunt was the old wolf that used to live at Kestrel Hall. It is now my and my pack's territory to claim, as well as this land.
I had heard whispers of her, but I had never seen her. You are her heir, then? You want to take her place?
Yes, but I want to make this place better than what she left it as.
Do you consider yourself the lord of this land? Do you want to rule here in her stead?
It's our job.
I want to protect this land, not lord over it with an iron fist.
An interesting desire, but one that is clearly far from realization at the moment.
Yeah.
You want to know. You want to know. We all have desires. This town has desire. Not much left now, but it's all that's left when you take away everything else, isn't it? You are angered by my presence here?
No. No. You I have no qualm with because I have just only met you. There are other spirits here do I have
Not
qualms
by
with.
choice that I sit on this side of the gauntlet, though I must admit the pleasures of this flesh are appealing. But I have been forced here.
By a masked fear spirit.
By the guilty earth, yes. It is a ruler here in a way that you are not. For me to wield my own authority, my own independence, to survive outside of its grasp, I have come here. The other side is inhospitable now.
I raise an eyebrow. Are you the spirit of this city, of this town? Or
No,
what's left of it?
no, I am not, but I do know where it is. Do you desire to know?
Yes, we'd wish to drive this fear spirit away from here to restore the balance as it once was.
There are many things you want that you desire that I can help with then.
Well, like I said, primarily I'm concerned with the Bechalou that was here at one point, and I am also concerned about the spirit of Glisham.
And what do you offer, little mongrel, in return for the fulfillment of your desires?
My pack and I wish to drive out these spirits and to restore you and the spirit of Glisham to your proper spaces. You won't have to live here on the other side of the gauntlet.
So you offer what? Peace with you? You offer what? Aid or sanctuary? I want to know what you think I want.
I offer you aid in exchange for yours.
Yes. Then perhaps we can fulfill each other's desires. The mass of these spheres, like pulsating in iridescence, will shift and realign slightly. Perhaps we can all get what we want. Name your first desire, and I will name my price.
The Bechalou that was here. Why was he here? What does he want?
Then this is my price. She's a glittering gem amid the dross. She shines brightly amidst the pulsing sound and heat, but she is very, very cold. She's so desperate, so full of desire, though. Out there now, there's one in the crowd. She is hungry, very hungry, but she is frightened to fulfill her desire. She is frightened to sate her hunger. She is called Tourmaline, and she is a bright jewel. But she's owned, she thinks, by the other one, the other mongrel. And she's scared to transgress against his commands, because she thinks she is property. She thinks her desires are subordinate to his, but her hunger is oh so very deep. Feed her. Let her sate her hunger, and I will tell you what you want to know. She's there now. Find Tourmaline. Let her know that she should and can fulfill her desires. Let her know she doesn't need to be afraid anymore.
Okay. And the second, the spirit of Glisham. It's an ally I want.
Do you know why this place is so inhospitable in the shadow, this center of people's desires?
So is the gauntlet like hard to pierce through here, Chris?
No, seems perfectly normal level for in a town.
I can't say. The gauntlet here doesn't seem thick. So why is this place so inhospitable?
Well, because it has been protected. On the one hand, this is a help to me. It keeps me safe from the predations of the guilty earth. It lets me dally with those I desire here. But on the other, it has taken my heart from me. another heart is in its place. I cannot join with my true self that I am. I am here with my reflection on this side of the gauntlet, not where I should be. I would like to go back there. I know it will not be possible yet, because the guilty earth still waits hungrily for me. But I would like to be ready when the time is right to reclaim what is mine on the other side. I cannot, because someone on this side placed that charm. In this building somewhere, there is a heart. It has been pierced with nails, and it has been placed to protect, no, to suffocate the shadow here. Find it, bring it to me, and I will answer your second desire. I will meet your second desire, as you will have met mine.
Very well. Keep this one distracted, and I thumb out like...
You do not need to worry about him, but for one thing. You hurt him. You hurt my prophet, and I do not like that.
Apologies, Spirit. I thumb out like 50 pounds or so. I don't know. I'm being over...
No. Get him more of the trinket you took from him. He is hurt. It will salve it. It is what he desires.
I pull open Amazon and I look up louvered shades.
Glittery, sparkly.
And just like, I find the gaudiest fucking ones I can, and I send them here as a gift. And I just put no hard feelings, mate, as the message on the delivery.
The spirit observes what you're doing, goes, yes, that is a conveyance of desires. I do not understand it, but you have done it. I feel it. Yes. Good. Good. That is a matter of peace between us. Now, go. Fulfill my desires, and I will fulfill yours.
I nod. Pleasure. What was your name, Spirit?
Hungers for more.
Hungers for more. Johnny Galloway. And I stand up and I walk out.
Okay, we're going to have a brief bio break now, quite a late one for today's session, but we are going to have a brief break now. 5 minutes to refresh and recuperate before the pack are able to communicate with one another once again and see what shenanigans result. So come back shortly to find out whether Stormbringer gets through the evening without punching anybody, and we will be continuing back again then. All right, 5 minutes, folks. See you in a bit.
All right, sounds good. As usual, guys, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to drop them in the chat while you wait. We will answer them when we get back. We'll see you guys soon.
Hello again. So, where we just left off, Johnny had a conversation with Hungers for More, the spirit, and had, I presume, is now planning to head back out and find other members of the pack.
Yep.
Okay, so are you? In terms of finding the pack, Harmonious and Thorn are both downstairs and much more accessible. Stormbringer is sat with his buddies, so he's kind of a bit harder to get to in terms of talking to him without risking maybe drawing attention from them.
Yeah, it's fine. One of my aspirations, anyway, is to just hang out a little bit with his buddies. But first, I'm going to hit up Harmonious Flame and Thornbreaker.
Okay. Now, in all conversations currently held are probably going to have to be shouted in the club, but I am presuming you're chatting without having to go, yeah, I know, down the actual mic, you know?
And I find them, and I just kind of point upstairs, since I imagine there's might be less people up there.
Yeah.
Okay, Harmonious Flame notes. She was pretty much done with the dancing anyway.
Yep, worked up a good sweat on the dance floor. Feel like you've had a good bit of exercise, had a good time immersing yourself in the music. Quality of which has gone up slightly. Whoever's in charge of the music has changed, and someone with slightly better taste and talent is now heading the set.
Can I get a point of willpower from immersing myself in this? The essence of what Harmonious Flame is.
You're hedonist, aren't you? Yep, that gives you a point of willpower. Basically, fuck the whole thing of the hunt and all that doing useful stuff. I'm just here to fucking dance. So I assume Thornbreaker is taking with relief the lifeline of getting off the floor again.
100%.
Chris, would I qualify for a point of willpower just because of Wallflower?
Yes, yeah, I think so. Yeah. And a final note on that, Stormbringer. Because you've been spending ages just hanging out with your touchstones, don't you? You will get another point of willpower from touchstone interactions, just sitting with Chillingham. Now, you see the other three members of your pack. You know, Stormbringer is the kind of chap who, even though he's out for a good time with some beers, I imagine is positioned easily so he can see the stairs up and the like. You know.
Yep.
So you will see the other three members of your pack now gathered together again, come up and presumably go and mostly plonk themselves down somewhere. Hold on, Johnny, because you said you wanted to maybe go hang in with his buds. So what's your plan here?
I was going to gesture for my other two pack mates to go up, and I'm just going to kind of walk over to Stormbringer's buds, get a beer at the bar, and introduce myself.
Okay, so is your plan here to come over to them and go, hey, I'm Johnny, I'm a mate of not saying Stormbringer.
Yep. Of Jack.
Of Jack. Okay. So Stormbringer, your pack mates have now basically turned up and introduced themselves to your nearest buddy. They've gone, oh, hi Jack, and introducing themselves to your buddies as your other local mates. Local in technical terms, I guess, given two of them are American. But then so are you. So so is that how you're happy with your pack coming and mingling with your rugby buds?
Not exactly, but I'm not going to make a point of it here.
Okay, so you kind of ended up, they're welcome. Oh, I know this guy's Jerry's like, oh, hi, you're friends of Stormbringer, and ask you, how do you know him? And I'm presuming
Johnny is the boss.
Yeah. Oh, right. And
they know I'm working on the estate, and he's the owner, so technically he's the boss.
Now, the irony of this is that for a lot of them, that doesn't do the thing of making them go, "Oh, it's his boss. Therefore he's out." Not in the step with us socially.
Right.
Most of these lads that Stormbringer is your buddy here is made friends with from university are from very well-off families. So when you say, "Yeah, I own this property," like Jack Borrowdale's like, oh yeah, no, my dad owns quite a big estate just over, and like some of them come from families that just own large amounts of property or have an awful lot of money. Not all of them. It's not like a universally upper middle class kind of section, but yeah, the hooligans game for gentlemen just ring fairly true. So you get chatting with one of them who's saying, "How did you become inheritance? Have you had problems with inheritance tax and all that kind of stuff? Then, or did your great aunt do the right kind of tax avoidance stuff to?"
Nah. She fucked me on the tax avoidance stuff. So, speaking of tax avoidance stuff, you know anybody?
Yeah, no, I do. They start guys ends up literally just scrawling some stuff on a bit of paper, going by. Yeah, so here's the basic my accountant so yeah, give them. That's going. One of the lads is trying to chat Harmonious Flame up. They're feeling slightly more. So Johnny has they've just accepted him in with open arms. Harmonious Flame again, one's trying to chat him up. Thornbreaker is getting slightly not wariness, but more like they don't know quite what to make of him because Stormbringer's their mate. Harmonious Flame is a woman, and Johnny appears to be in the same social class amongst them. Thornbreaker is an American guy who is quite, he's got quite a presence to him, but he doesn't easily fit into a lot of categories that these people live their lives by. So Thornbreaker, what's your angle in here? Are you going to be standoffish? Are you going to sit your drink, or are you going to try and get in there and?
So what you're telling me is that Thornbreaker is coming off like a stick in the mud?
Can I note? Can I notice that they're a little wary of Thornbreaker?
Yeah, I mean, give me a wits plus empathy check to really scope it out. But Thornbreaker, what's your angle? Are you going to basically just be pretty chill at the edge, or are you trying to sort of make an impact?
I have an angle.
You have an angle.
I have an angle. I want to see how this comes out too, though.
Thornbreaker's not trying to be standoffish. He did just come from a very uncomfortable situation, and so he's a little more at ease because he's now relaxing a little bit from being that uptight.
He's still got a stick up his ass.
It's not that he has a stick up his ass. He just doesn't care about any of this. Like, Thornbreaker has shown time and again that he thinks humans are sort of a comma in a sentence, that they're not super important. He's much more concerned about the spirit world. He's much more concerned about the werewolfy side of werewolves. And so it's just like, it's background noise to him. He doesn't particularly care about these people.
I rolled 2 successes to notice.
Yeah, so you've got a pretty good feel that again, that he's a bit of a categorization error. They're friendly folks, these guys. They are a bit blind to like other people's experiences, if you know what I mean. They're welcoming. They'll be welcoming to most people because they're friendly enough fellows. But they won't be like, oh, maybe this guy lives a very different life to us. So,
So,
they just have a categorization error for that rather than any real empathy for him, basically.
So Johnny just kind of mentions, with the inheritance, I pissed off a lot of family members who didn't know about me. It was kind of a shock to them. So I figured I need some protection. So
you're pitching Thornbreaker as your heavy.
I'm pitching Thornbreaker as my bodyguard. Yes.
Okay.
Jackson Sternberg is going to kind of roll his eyes at this and just shrug and go along with it.
Yeah, like one of the guys is like, is there going, oh, maybe you should have thought about Jack for that. No, but he's far too pretty for that kind of job, isn't he?
Jack smiles.
He's so they. No, carry on.
I was going to just say he came highly recommended. Mutual acquaintance.
You get asked by like, at least one of them, and then another one later who's probably forgotten when you answer. I didn't hear or forgot when you heard the answers. Like, oh, so what's it like for you guys as a bunch of Americans in the UK? How are you finding it? Is it quite different to the US? How are you dealing with the fact that you can't just like shoot people and you don't have guns? Yeah, that bit is tongue in cheek mostly.
Jack's gonna roll his eyes because he's had this conversation with them before.
Oh yes, many times.
Johnny just says I'm not much of a firearms guy myself.
Did your cowboy hat survive the air journey fine? So you get that these guys have the kind of sense of humor is very much banter, and on
the cowboy hat note, Jack is going to look at I'm going to say it was Jim, and be like, hey, you still owe me that hat.
Look, It's gone to a grave at the bottom of the river, which it richly deserved. All right.
It's not my fault. You tried to find out if 10 gallons of beer would fit in a 10-gallon hat.
And now we know the answer. It's science, all right?
Right. How many liters did we get in that hat? I don't even remember.
I
don't know. It was a good drink, though.
No, yeah, I think we drank most of it in the end.
What I remember of it, anyway.
Yeah, because you started the night wearing it. It ended up in the river. You ended the night wearing a traffic cone on your head, I think.
Did I really?
Yeah, and we could fit quite a lot more beer into the traffic cone turned up than we could into the 10-gallon hat. I remember that bit.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
So the chatter goes, the banter goes. These guys are. It's a rough and tumble kind of banter, but they're a bit more wary about the other three because they don't know you as well. They seem amiable enough chaps. So you spend some time just chilling. The night's getting on a little bit by this point. People are cycling off to dance and things. So, but I assume at some point you're going to want to hurriedly mutter among yourselves strange and occult eldritch things.
Yep. I'm also just gonna look around. Is Hungers from Moore hovering around any particular women here?
You're fairly sure she's fettered to Jimmy Gibbon.
Okay.
And is sticking right to him.
Okay.
If what she said is true, then the other side of the shadow in this place is inhospitable anyway because of this warding. She doesn't want to be there because she's worried that guilty Earth will come gunning for her. So she's come to the flesh because she's a spirit refugee, basically. Now that means she will bleed essence like fuck unless she
feels better. So, just conversate a bit and try to get Stormbreaker away from his rugby boys for like a hot minute. With anyway, that kind of the plan, and we can compare notes.
Yeah, so you're gonna try and pry the pack away from the lad. You want to get Stormbreaker away so you can have your conversation. While that's going on, the lads are getting a bit rowdier as more drink is going down, and they've started on like the drinking games and the rugby club stuff. So they're now there's people doing stuff. There's something that when people say or do something, they have to down their pint, and if they don't, there will be consequences. And they're starting to try and sort of fold Johnny in particular, because again, Harmonious Flame is a woman and Thornbreaker is a bit weird. They're trying to fold Johnny into this as like one of the dodgy guys. Go on, they are. You get the feeling that if you hang around and continue for long for this, you may find yourself caught up in inadvisable. Rugby society shenanigans and games.
Jack is going to very gently push Johnny into the drinking circle, and Jack is going to partake for a little bit in the games and shenanigans before going to talk to the rest of the crew.
All right. Let's see how much it takes.
Okay, so are you going in for the drinking games then?
Actually, let me go use.
So
use the bathroom right quick before we get in on this?
What?
Oh, well, your buzz from the drugs have mostly burned away by now.
No, but my character's saying he just wants to go to the bathroom and empty the tank before he starts refilling. So,
real quick, Chris, which one of the boys has been hitting on Harmonious Flame the worst?
Worst.
It will be to come up with a name.
It doesn't matter. Jack's gonna walk up to him and be like, "Hey, I'll bet you the bar tab tonight, my tab tonight, that she can drink you under the table."
He looks at you, looks at her, and goes, "Look, she's got like a Russian accent. Okay, I am not falling for that shit."
So Jack's gonna play the whole, "Oh, come on, some some big tough rugby player you are. It must be getting slow in your old age.
Oh,
He's gonna goad him into trying to pay the bar tab.
He's like, oh, you know what they say, never get in a fucking drinking competition with people from Eastern Europe or Russia, right? And but you're trying to go. So give me a manipulation plus persuasion roll.
I was gonna do manipulation plus intimidation because he's trying to like challenge his manhood.
I'm gonna give persuasion. It's not real intimidation here, but
Persuasion, okay.
Persuasion, yeah, I think, or socialize if you prefer. But one of those two.
But we respect the hustle.
I'm trying here.
Is that are you literally just going because you're just gonna have a piss before you
Two
get
successes,
drinking, or you have something in mind?
When he steps away, Thornbreaker's gonna follow.
More so I can temporarily separate the pack from these guys, so we can have a really quick conversation, and then he's
in the head.
No, just walk away while these guys are distracted with themselves.
Okay, so Stormbringer. So Stormbringer, while you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to," Stormbringer's been goading this guy into having a drinking competition with Harmonious Flame. I don't know what Harmonious Flame's attitude to this is. She looks slightly
Look, I'm counting on the fact that she's a werewolf and it's going to take an entire keg of beer to get her drunk, and the fact that we're going to get away with a free bar tab at the club tonight.
That's purely what this is about. Stormbringer doesn't want to have to pay for his booze.
Exactly. So dude, he wants to get a little drunk, and it's going to cost more than he makes at this shitty estate.
Paul finally acquiesces. Does Harmonious Flame acquiesce to having a drinking competition with this guy?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Fun.
So they have a
hedonism. Give into it. You get another point of willpower.
Yes.
Yes.
See, I'm trying to help you. I'm a team player. What do you want from me?
The willpower candy is real.
Johnny has the issue with your attempt to peel the pack away is not working because Stormbringer is clearly enjoying getting you embroiled in the games and has got Flame Court has been trying to get you caught up and stuff as well. So you're able to go and have a piss or to prep yourself, but it doesn't seem to be. Whatever your subtle approach is clearly not working because by the time you get back from the loo, Harmonious Flame is several pints down. The guys come back with pints and then shots. You start with like 3 pints and you move to basically get to smaller and increasingly lethal drinks, and particularly you mix drinks, which is really brutal.
Thornbreaker did walk away with Johnny though.
Okay, so
I can at least conversate with Thornbreaker.
Yes.
So. There's a spirit here fettered to the owner. Hungers for more. She's willing to help us, but we have to do 2 things for her. And for 2 different pieces of information. One, for the Becheloux. There's a woman here she's bound to Hawkhurst. And she wants us to have her give in to her own personal desires rather than Hawkhurst's desires. So that's one thing, and I'm all for sticking it to Hawkhurst right now. The second one is something about the club is she fled here from the shadow, away from the fear spirit. And there's some sort of warding on the club. A nail was driven into its heart, she said. If we can remove this nail and therefore remove the warding, she'll tell us where the spirit of Gleesham's hidden.
They want us to remove the nail.
she said there's a heart with nails driven into it. She wants you to bring the heart to her.
Oh, heart to her. Sorry. To bring the heart to her.
She can't go look for it, but she doesn't want us to remove the nail because then we'll remove the wording and then she won't be safe in it.
Yeah. So she didn't specify if the heart's on the shadow or on the physical, right, Chris?
I think she said it's in the flesh.
It's in the flesh. Okay.
Do you want to look for the heart and I'll try to find Tourmaline?
I was like, Jackson appeal himself away from the guys real quick and come join the conversation.
Leaving Harmonious Flame mid-drinking competition with this guy who is looking increasingly woozy as you go down the rack of drinks.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
gonna make sure
so-
I'm making sure she's got this under control, and then I'm gonna go see what's going on.
She seems to largely have this under control, yeah. So you come over to so you come up with during this conversation here, Johnny, talking about the spirit and these things you want.
I'm gonna bring 3 shots of the good stuff because I know Paul's paying.
Cheers.
All right, so what's going on?
I'm assuming you tell him the same thing.
Yeah.
Wah.
Yeah, I
assume I
fill
was
you in.
In addition, Thornbreaker tells the two of them about Tar Peter, and notes that even though he's claimed, it seems to be a willing host situation, and he may be very useful to the pack moving forward because he seems to know, for whatever reason, he seems to be completely tuned into whoever's passing through or coming to the area.
You said we'd make an arrangement with him later?
I said that I'd speak to the pack and decide if we want to make some sort of formal pact with him. He's
Well,
Jack's
specifically...
going to look at Stormbreaker's going to look at Thornbreaker. Stormbringer is going to look at Thornbreaker with a deadpan look, like dead serious, and be like, "Look, what I don't know can't bother me."
Thornbreaker nods. I'll take care
Yeah,
of it.
I'm not a fan of this host bullshit he's bringing in.
I don't disagree, and I think that we will need to keep a tighter grip on the situation, but it's no secret that we don't have that many friends in the area, and being able to keep track of the coming and goings of other entities coming into our territory is something that we currently don't have a good handle on. He'll be a useful asset. Look, I don't have any fondness in my heart for the claimed, but I can swallow that at least this claiming was mutual, and as long as the spirit is willing to play by our rules.
I want to know what the member of the herd is gaining from this claiming. It's real easy to claim that something's mutual if we don't know what the benefits are to either side.
Yeah, but it's also unlikely it would claim it's mutual. That's something that normally doesn't matter to our people. And also spirits.
Unless he knows that it's easier to get away with it.
Maybe, but it's also my limited experience with the claimed is that they diminish human value. They see them only as things to ride, and so it seems strange to me that it would even bring it up if there's no truth to that. But I'll look into it more.
But I still want to know.
Yeah, I'll look into it more. In the meantime, as I said, I'm going to try to find out who Tourmaline is, so maybe we can get to the bottom of what she wants. Johnny...
Tourmaline.
This was part of the... This was the WA. This was what Pete said he found out.
I passed Thornbreaker some drugs. I don't know if this is what she particularly desires, but I picked this up. It might be useful.
I'll see if it helps. In the meantime, do you think you can locate this heart?
She's really generic about it. Whatever it is, it's going to have a nail, but spirits. I don't
she said
know.
it was a heart.
Yeah, a literal
Oh, an
heart.
actual heart. A literal heart.
That's what she said. It's a heart punctured with nails in it. Is she literal or not? Well, she seems to be speaking as clearly as she could do, but she's a spirit, so...
Yeah, that's my point. She says it's a heart with nails, so I don't know if she's waxing poetically at me or what.
My instinct is you'll probably know it when you see it.
Yeah. Out of game. Are you going to warn us about Mr. Sparkle?
Oh, yes. I almost forgot. Sorry. Tar Peter mentioned that we should be on the watch for Mr. Sparkles.
Harmonious Flame's been able to join you now. She's finished drinking. Paul has literally surrendered because it got to the point where he was no longer feeling... he's gone to the bathroom at fairly high speed, shall we say. Harmonious Flame, you are feeling slightly drunk.
Slightly.
Cheating, I say to Stormbreaker.
What'd you say? You broke up a little bit.
I said it was a bit cheating, wasn't it?
Free drinks.
Free booze is free booze.
Look, last time I checked, it's Martha, right? Martha is the regular name? Last time I checked, Martha, only because we're in public, we weren't exactly raking in the cash at the estate. So, better to keep what little we have for what we need.
And you know what? If I was in Aralu Nim, I'd say that's worth the point of cunning.
Okay. So
We're all gonna have a little
Do
chuckle
you think
over there.
that will? Do you think that will earn me a bit of glory?
That might earn you some glory and me some cunning.
So, Harmonious Flame, you'd arrived just as Thornbreaker was presumably there's a bar, and also Thornbreaker was just mentioning Mr. Sparkles.
Well, and also mentions that he found out the Bechalou that killed the drug courier was likely this Bechalou shard named Rouet.
Rouet or Rouvet?
I thought it was Rouet. I could be wrong.
Rouet, yeah.
Rouet, okay.
I mean, I'm not an expert on the hosts, but I think that once they give themselves a name, that means that they've pretty much gained sentience, and you know. We cannot hear you, Johnny.
Johnny?
Oh,
Nope. Yeah, it looks like Johnny's trying to talk.
the missing Johnny.
Technical difficulties.
That better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
there you go. All right, yeah, you're back.
no, I'd imagine it tricked us into attacking the flame guest. So I wager it was intelligent beforehand. Flame, you mind helping me try to find this heart in Two Eyes?
Okay, I
Multiple
can do
sets
that.
of
I think I'm done drinking for now.
Wobble, wobble.
Waffle.
And who knows? Bill might have a good time after all. And I walk away.
Okay. So I'm going to assume that it sounds like you're splitting. Johnny and Harmonious Flame trying to find the heart. Thornbreaker, are you going to conscript Stormbringer to help you find Tourmaline?
No, I'm gonna let Stormbringer go back to his enjoying the revelry with his buddies, and also to keep them from getting into too much trouble. And then Thornbreaker's going to find Tourmaline, but he's not going to do it terribly efficiently because he's.
Let me just make sure,
Thornbreaker.
Thornbreaker, that you're sure you want to leave me alone, because I tend to release terrible occult horrors when I'm alone.
So I feel like the two of you
It's a
being.
fair point.
I feel like the two of us being alone will both yield unsavory results. I think that you being alone with your drinking rugby buddies is a terrible idea. I also think Thornbreaker trying to find Tourmaline is a terrible idea. Because how it's going to work is he's literally going to walk up to every female in this club and just be like, Tourmaline? Tourmaline? Tourmaline?
Oh,
until someone finally is like,
Oh,
what
God.
of it? And then we'll engage in conversation.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
Like, I don't know if you've been in many clubs, but drunken people staggering through going, Jimmy! 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 Jimmy!
Pretty
Everyone
normal.
they meet is fairly normal in a packed nightclub where you can barely see a foot in front of you anyway because of all the feet.
I was gonna say Jack is going to actually interrogate the bartenders about Tourmaline. And if I
Okay.
get a lead, I'm going to text Thornbreaker.
While Thornbreaker's in the background, bumping into Tourmaline? Tourmaline!
Okay, so
Thornbreaker's
Thornbreaker,
literally big birding through the club.
you begin scanning through the however many hundreds of people here, going, Tourmaline, Tourmaline, Tourmaline. As you go, Stormbringer, you go to the bar. Can you give me a presence, I think, plus streetwise or socialize?
Oh, okay. Sorry, wrong roll. Couldn't be subterfuge.
You could throw a willpower at it.
You know what? We're gonna do that just so I have more than one die. It wouldn't have been a chance die, but it only would have been a one die. 1 success.
Hey.
Okay, so you go up and you're like, hey, look, I'm looking for someone called Tourmaline. Do you know her? The first guy's like, sorry, I don't know. And when he gets around with an else next woman, sort of next one along, the woman comes over. Woman, short woman, pink hair, pink and purple hair, spiked up, nose rings. You look for Tourmaline. Yeah, I know Tourmaline. What do you want with her?
Jack is going to literally pause while drinking his beer because I completely forgot what we were looking for her for.
So you are looking for, according to Johnny, the spirit wants her to be. He said he's afraid. He said the spirit thinks that she is beholden to Hawkhurst. She's afraid to indulge her own desires and her own hunger, and that the spirit wants her to sate her own hunger and indulge her own desires, and not be afraid of doing that, and be afraid of transgressing against Hawkhurst, who has a hold over her. I think that's more or less what Johnny told you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is
So
basically
I'm
what I
going
got.
to flat out be like, hey, I've a buddy of mine said that she used to come around a lot and have a real good time, and she hasn't lately. And he's been asking about her, so I'm just trying to find out. I'm just trying to see if maybe somebody could fill me in as to where she's been and what's going on.
You appear to have lucked out with what you said by pure chance, having said something that makes them go like, "Oh yeah, no, that's right." Like, it doesn't even sound like. Sometimes you'll say some stuff and you don't expect it all to hit. You just need enough to hit with someone to go, yeah, okay. But it sounds like she's like, yeah, you've got every detail dead right, which is itself perhaps a little weird to have just lucked into that. And she's like, yeah, no, okay. And she goes, right, okay, well, look, she looks around a bit. I saw her over there a moment ago. So she basically waits a minute and goes, yeah, there, can you see, dancing with that guy over there? And you look across, she points to the woman. She's a little under average height, very slim, not so slim, not skinny, but slim, dressed in muted but probably reasonably stylish clothes. Hair, short black hair in a kind of almost, I don't know what, I can't remember, but sort of not chaotic or thatch out. It's quite styled, but it's quite short, but going out a bit around.
Like Joan Jett style?
Those words have gone out of my head. And you go, yeah, that's her over there.
Okay. I'm going to throw a perception check. You said she's dancing with a guy? All right. I got 1 success. I want to see. I want to do 2 things. One, I want to look and see if I recognize the guy, or if the guy looks like he's anything other than just a guy she's dancing with. And then I'm also going to do a quick scan of the room to see if anybody's really watching her.
So on the first, there isn't really anything interesting looking about this guy in terms of nothing stands out. He does not appear to be dancing close, and so the impression you get is that, as often happens on a club dance floor, these are 2 people who have ended up dancing together rather than who have come here to dance together. And while he is trying to get closer to her in the dance, he is trying to get closer to her dancing, seeing if she's vibing off it rather than them being close in the first place. You look around. Is anybody watching her? And after a little while, that picks you up on something. You look around. Yes. Briefly, there was a woman who's nursing a drink in one of the other corners. She is so she's quite striking, except she's in the club for the people side. But you pick up a woman, she's young, but she looks quite well built. Like, she seriously goes to the gym, and not just to get nice toned muscles. She lifts, not so much to be massively bodybuilder, but this is a woman who is very, very good shape. She's bare arms, and she's nursing a drink. You're watching her. She's done a little circuit of them. She's watching Tourmaline. Not just, she's also looking around. She's looking around for people quite warily. She doesn't look like she's watching Tourmaline in a kind of with that way, hard to read what her view of Tourmaline is, but she is keeping eyes on Tourmaline and looking around. She doesn't seem to have pegged anyone else who's getting a lot of her attention, just Tourmaline. And it is not, you're fairly sure, the kind of attention of, that's a hot girl I want to go and dance with. She's watching her quite scrutinizingly.
Is it the kind of look that somebody who's protecting somebody, or
give me wits plus empathy? Thornbreaker, meanwhile, is going on his Tourmaline trip, has not got anywhere near Tourmaline yet.
3 successes.
Tourmaline.
Okay, you watch, you case. That is not the look of a protector, nor is it the look of an overseer. This is not someone keeping tabs on her, and I will go and tattle to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
This woman, her body language is ready for a fight. Not necessarily towards Tourmaline, but she is on edge, and she is watching her in the kind of case of a bit like you in some ways, going, I am watching this person for, you're not sure if for intel gathering or for planning something, but she is watching her with the manner of someone who is not Tourmaline's friend, isn't necessarily hostile to her, but is here on she's got a mission in mind. She is casing Tourmaline, if you like.
And I don't sense anything. I'm sorry. I don't sense anything strange about the woman who's watching her, like werewolf.
You would need to smell her, and in this club, you need to get close to smell her over everything else.
Buy her a drink.
No, I'm going to do one better.
Tourmaline.
Jack is going to down the shot in his hand.
Yep.
Oh, we're trying something here, boys. With 2 successes on and I'm going with a manipulation, and Chris, it really doesn't matter if it's manipulation or presence. If it's composure, it does change the roll. But I'm going with a plus expression roll. He's going to pull one of those, because she's near the bar, right?
The watching woman, yeah, she's not far from the bar. So.
He's going to do one of those, he's pushing his way up to get a drink and accidentally stumble into her, and that's when he's going to get a smell.
Okay, so you close in, you're getting battered around, trying to play your role and as you get in close, oh yes, she is a wolf-blooded, but there's more than that. Washing scent-wise, someone in Dalu form present smells quite different from someone in human form there. They smell much wolfy. She smells like she is seething with something like Dalu form about to burst through. She's not. She's a human form, and she smells like wolf-blooded. But she smells that animalistic sweat and almost like you need. If you get a really good, give me a perception check actually. See how much info. Again, you're only working through human senses, so only +1. You won't get as much detail as if you were in another form, but you can't really take another form in the middle of a nightclub.
I can't take Dalu?
You could. You might risk causing some lunacy in people around you.
4 successes. Son of a bitch.
Oh.
Okay.
One short of a...
You get a really good sniff without making it too obvious that you're taking a really good sniff as you knock into her. She smells like barely suppressed rage. You don't think it's like focused from her body language. It's not focused on Tourmaline, but this wolf-blooded is like tightly wound as a spring. She is ready to crack some skulls and flip the fuck out. She smells quite close to a werewolf death raging, even though she is not a werewolf and she is not death raging.
And I agreed to not, and I set an aspiration to not get into a fight. Oh, you did this
when
on
you knock
purpose,
into
sir.
her, she jolts, she turns. She doesn't. You knock into her and she barely moves. She's made of fucking brick. As far she's really muscular.
Wow, because I'm not a small dude.
She takes it. You see her shift her stance in just that instinctive reaction to you knocking into her, and just take it and shift. She's not even really. That's before she even thinks and notices what you're doing. And she looks at you, and there's that moment of these eyes of as if she's going, "You just did fucking what?" and then she, there's that half second in her eyes, and then she's got control of herself, and she just. She assumes you're just another person pushing past. She obviously can't, unlike Mary, she doesn't have the ability to scent werewolves. So she just shifts slightly to let you past.
No, I'm a werewolf. Okay.
Yeah. She lets you go on past. She is wound tight as a spring.
She's at the bar or on the way to the bar?
She's a bit away from it, on the way to the bar. And again, physically, she's good height. She is very well built. Not like so much that she looks like a bodybuilder, but she is packed with muscle. Unusually so for a regular person, and her instincts are instant aggression, which she is having to keep in check.
So, can I tell from the successes of the scent. What kind of drink what she's drinking?
Beer.
All right. Look, I don't know if she's drinking a mixed drink, a shot. Like,
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
you get that scent. It's definitely beer.
No. The way that Chris just said beer was
Yeah.
Even her beer is aggressive.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna order 2 of the most aggressive beers they have, and I'm going to walk up to her.
It's a hoppy as shit IPA.
She sees you come back. Obviously, clocks you're the person who knocked into us now. And goes, "What do you want?"
I'm going to hand her the beer. I'm sorry about that.
Takes it slightly nonplussedly, as if she was expecting something other than being given something. You know.
What brings you here?
Jack
Jack is, by the way, Chris. Jack is kind of matching her aggressive stance.
Yep.
But not in this, I'm going to fight you, but in this, you want to fight you. If you try to tussle with me, you're going to have a bad day.
Okay. Give me a wits plus empathy roll for her.
I really got to put some points in the empathy, man. I roll this thing all the time, and I'm not very good at it. No successes.
Okay. She is struggling a bit with her response, but you can't really tell whether that's because she's drunk, wired tighter than a spring, or what is going on. She goes, what brings me, it's a club. People go to clubs, you know, without needing to be interrogated as to why they're here. Thanks for the beer, I guess. She takes a drink, slightly confused as to taken on the back foot by being given a drink.
I look at her, I said, no interrogation, just friendly conversation.
Not much conversation at this volume. She's got long brown hair, sort of tied back. Again, it looks like she looks like she's almost ready to go to the gym or for a run or for a fight. Again, early 20s, probably similar-ish age to Stormbringer, ironically. But she's looking. She doesn't have the. So werewolves and some combat wolf tend to pick up a lot of scars. She doesn't have that kind of incidental damage.
So either she's really good or she does a lot of training and hasn't actually been in a fight yet.
Yeah, either's possible.
Tourmaline?
So Jack's going to look at her and be like, do you want to go someplace a little quieter to talk?
She appears to be completely on the back foot for anything involving actual socialization here. She's like, I guess it would be nicer than being, and then she gets halfway through the sentence of like, yeah, sure, I guess, and like going, wait, no, what? Like, yeah, no, I'm fine, thanks, I'm fine here with
Jack's
my
going
drink.
to smile.
She's paying slightly more attention to where she is, trying to look for an answer in her surroundings. Like, yes, I am fine here in this corner. Shit.
Jack's going to smile his most disarming smile, which may come off like the Hulk grinning. I don't know. What would you like to get for that? He's trying to put her at ease.
I think this would be persuasion plus presence plus persuasion. Just to get her to actually chill the fuck out and maybe think that you're just some interested guy with a drink trying to chat her up rather than...
All right, this is not... I'm just going to preface this roll with this is not a chance roll. I do actually have one die.
Okay.
One success.
Wow.
There you go. So
Jack's pulling out the social out of his ass once again.
You start chatting to this woman and you're persistent enough that she's not... So her reaction is not that of a woman who's like, oh, some guy's coming to chat me up, I don't want your attention. She is not here for any of that in the first place. So the fact you're here has just completely set her on the wrong foot. And then she's decided, like, okay, I guess I've just got to chat with this guy. She's not trying to actively get rid of you per se, but she's like, oh, I suppose I'm in a club. I should try and maintain my cover. You know, I should attempt small talk with this guy. And then you start to actually chat with her, and you just get her to actually focus a little bit more on you. And she starts to unwind, not because she's chilled out and because she thinks you're a rad dude, but because you've convinced her that she doesn't need to have that you're not a threat, that there's not a fight to be had here right now. Because initially she was just so nonplussed, she was trying to figure out what to categorize you as. And ironically, some guy just chatting up a woman in a club is reasonably normal. She's clocked that this is reasonably normal, and she should treat it as reasonably normal rather than freaking the fuck out or getting really confused. So by giving her a bit of space to talk and giving her the time in between her answers to go like, what am I supposed to be giving as an answer here? Fuck, what am I even, oh yes, club, okay, yes, sure. You start to talk to her a bit and some information comes out. Just checking.
He's gonna try to give her just he's gonna the phrase that comes to mind on this conversation, just to kind of tell you where it's going, is he's trying to give her just enough rope to hang herself with.
Yeah, so
he's going to ask just enough leading questions to kind of get what her interest in Tourmaline is, because I notice she's paying an exceptional amount of attention to her, and just trying to goad information without giving any up himself.
You also, first off, you get we get at least her first name's Emma, and she's like, "Yes, I have come here to the club to enjoy my evening at the club. Isn't it a great club?" She's giving some fairly bland answers because she's getting her footing a bit better and a bit calmer, and she's just saying, "Oh, I'm just out at the club to have a good evening." She's obviously standing here by herself watching Tourmaline, but she's, and you try and lead into like the whole, I saw you, noticed you talking to Tourmaline, watching Tourmaline. She's like,
Tourmaline.
That makes it go like, "Do you know her?" Not that girl. I wasn't particularly watching her. Why? Do you know her?
I'm gonna look. So what? So Tourmaline is attractive, not attractive, kind of average.
These things always vary between people. You would consider her to be, reasonably good looking.
Oh, so there are people who everybody agrees are reasonably
of a club.
Gotcha.
You haven't had a close look at her yet, so
right. So Jack's gonna kind of give a nonchalant. Oh, she caught my eye. She's one of the better looking young women, one of the better looking women in the club tonight.
She doesn't seem to sort of.
Thought maybe you knew something about her.
No. I wasn't really looking. My eyes happened to be falling there while I was just waiting for a friend. Waiting for a friend to turn up.
Who's the friend? So I'm gonna do a quick scan. Are we in a position where we are to see like the entrance easily?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a viable possible explanation, and that for whatever reason she's just being missed. There's nothing. I didn't notice anything mystically drawing me attention to Tourmaline, right?
No, but again, club slamming noise.
Right. No. I didn't know if there was like a spirit. Like I noticed any kind of spirit juju.
No
going
spirits
on,
hanging around her in particular. No.
Okay. I'm gonna look at her and say, why don't you go talk to her?
Well, why don't you go talk to her? You're the one who says you think she's good looking. It's not my problem.
Because you're the one watching her like a mother hen.
I'm not watching her like a mother hen, all right? I'm just happen to be resting my eyes and facing that direction, okay? And look, she's not even there anymore. She's gone over there now.
Tourmaline.
She's now dancing with some other guy.
Jack is going to smile.
He's not Thornbreaker yet.
He wasn't paying attention to her. But standing he's doing one of those, like, they're standing in the same direction. He's not staring at her. Like two people just having a conversation type thing. And he's going to look at her, turn to face Emma.
Yep.
And go, yes, but I didn't notice her move on, and you did. And smile. In that I caught you kind of, I'm not a threat, but you're lying to me and I don't appreciate it.
She sort of gives a hiss of frustration. Emma's accent is one that is what you would consider firmly middle class British, Southern, not strong Dorset, but slight edge of poshness to it. You're not sure if it's an affectation or just she's just family who's from slightly better wealth or whatever.
Okay.
And she sort of hisses, looks at you and goes, "You're really fucking weird. You know that?"
I'm American.
Yeah, I clocked on that. What's your name?
Jack.
Jack, do you make a habit of going to clubs and being weird at people?
Tourmaline.
You make a habit of going to clubs and staring at people you claim to not know.
Well, maybe I do.
Then maybe I do, but it seems to be that my awkwardness is breaking through a little bit of that outer shell.
I don't have an outer shell, all right? I'm not fucking armadillo or whatever. I don't know. What? Look,
I was hoping maybe more Eminem. Eddie smiles.
And that leaves it like, wait, what? And then she has the moment of going, but what's M&M's the ones with peanuts inside or not kind of moment. And they're like, don't really know how to take that.
Hard outer shell, sweet in the middle.
Oh my god.
No, it's just
Don't
like,
you yell at me for
icily.
laying it on thick, Pete.
Says icily, like, I am not sweet in the middle.
Does anyone know Tourmaline?
And as she says that, you see her jaw and teeth slightly shiver, as if pressing towards Dalu form. And then she says that thing, and she's like, oh, sorry, And then he drinks deep from her point to like hide that there was some discomfort from the slight partial shift.
So, just real quick, Chris, there is no way, aside from flaring my renown, which everybody would see, right? Even the non...
Well, people right against you would see it, but it's yeah.
Right, so I can't do that without revealing the fact that I'm something else.
Yes, you personally don't have access to the stuff that would let you do other things like partial change.
A quick
Right.
out of character thing, Chris. In first edition, I know it mentioned that werewolves could sense when a wolf-blooded was about to turn. For the first time, their first change.
Yes,
Is that
yes,
still
you
true?
would. To some extent, yes, and you are not getting any of the signs off her that she is about to change.
Okay.
So she's thoroughly wolf-blooded, and that's
She's
about it.
wolf-blooded and something which is tied into whatever she's doing, but she's not about to change. So while Stormbringer's got the poor wolf-blooded cornered and is frustrating her, Johnny and Harmonious Flame, what is your plan to find a heart with nails in it?
Good question. It's probably not gonna be just lying there for anyone to find, given that it's a club and lots of people are coming here.
Right, and I doubt it's going to be in Jimmy's office, otherwise she wouldn't be asking for it.
A job for So Harmonious Flame thinks about it and then says, Johnny, I think maybe this might be a job for daytime when there's not so many people in here.
That will require you to break into the club.
Well, she's
Not
got...
necessarily. Maybe the owner will let us in.
That or
That's true.
Harmonious Flame. Harmonious Flame does have the gift to just open all doors.
That's true as well, yes. Because I wave my hand at the dance floor that is behind us. Look, there's just so many people. I don't know how would we even find that thing.
I won't make you roll for this. I was going to think about it. There's no need for it. If there is a heart, if there's a literal heart with nails in it, it's not going to be on the dance floor among loads of people.
Yeah, it's going to be in the back room somewhere.
It's clearly not somewhere where she can go or where the owner can go. I don't know. She can make him go places, right? You did mention that she urged him.
She's fettered to him. She can... I don't know if she can influence... Yeah, she can influence him to do things. But she wouldn't know where the heart is necessarily either. Where would it be that he can't access is the question, especially on the physical.
Exactly.
Alright, I don't know. I guess we should maybe... I should have gotten more information. So there's a bunch of staff-only rooms, but maybe it's in there or something. I don't know.
This may be stupid, but I'm gonna go check the female toilet.
It's
Okay.
literally...
You
And
go
the
to
women.
the former scene of the crime, where Connie was cawed out like an apple by.
I swear to God, if it's in the bathroom, I'm gonna...
You look around. I mean, the place now. There's women going in and out. Smells of drugs, smells of sweat, smells of shit and piss. There's some people in there changing their makeup and stuff. There's a woman there on her phone, just chatting to a friend or whatever. They glance up. You go in. You cover up what you're doing as best you can, popping to the stall and stuff. Can I have a wits plus investigation roll?
My God, if it's in the...
Herman's Flame having a quiet moment to think.
Oh my god.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I didn't hear.
Okay, so first off, for your investigation of the loos, I mean, you can't really see anywhere in here that it could be, unless it's like in the cupboard where all the spare stuff, the locked cupboard with all the spare toilet roll and stuff in it, or hidden inside one of the hand dryers, which is unlikely. There aren't a lot of places in here to hide something like that. Now, obviously, rats can get there's enough holes in the firmament that rats can get in and out, as you know, unfortunately. But so it could be some in the walls, but how would you find that without ripping the walls open? While you're mulling this over, having a think, what do you think? One of the things that probably strike you is you've been told that this place is warded, and it's warded by someone having brought this heart with nails in it. It may help you to be able to track it down if you know what the fuck it is and why, or what if you know more about the method being used. You could tear this place apart, brick apart from brick, trying to find random items in here. You know what you are looking for. So one of the questions is, why is that what you're looking for? Like, who would do that? Why would they do that? Why would that have any power? And that will partly tell you. I mean, the spirit didn't say, but although presumably it hasn't been here since the building was constructed, because otherwise it could be literally in the fucking foundations. But if it's not, then who would add it and when would they have done so, and therefore, what? Where could they have put it?
I come out and I say that to Johnny.
Yeah, you're in the dingy corridor where you mugged poor fucking Jimmy Gibbon for his glass. You're watching people go in and out of the loos. This is the other place where drugs are getting handed around.
We need more information. We should talk to her again.
All right, let's go meet up with old Jimmy.
I'm gonna give a bigger hint at this point. Is that you could obviously do some research of your own. You have things like phones and stuff.
All right, I'm gonna just like literally heart, nail, and like Dorset or something, or
It does not get you very long to get the fucking hit. It's an old witchcraft tradition in the south of England here in particular. These were supposed to ward against witches, right? This may not be a simple ward against the witch if it's literally having an effect on the shadow. They would find bull's hearts, or hearts, and they would penetrate them usually from the inside out with nails. And the idea was you would stick them in your chimney, and when the witch tried to come down the chimney to invade your dreams, she would get spiked by it and driven away. Now, the club doesn't have chimneys, but I think you were Johnny and Stormbringer who were here when you broke the discusses. You remember Stormbringer getting on top of the building? Well, he was pattering around up there because he was there are a whole bunch of flues and vents and exhausts up there. They're not chimneys, but they're something quite similar.
all right. Do you think you can get us back into the club? I turn to Harmonious One. So I'm gonna go outside and gonna try to find a quiet spot in the back alley where we can get up onto the roof and investigate these flues.
Yeah, it's quite possible to get up there because Stormbringer did. You have to go down the street a bit, climb up on some stuff, get on top of one of the buildings on a little fire escape, and then onto the roof, and then you can potter along the top of the buildings to get on top of the club. So, while you two intend to see if the rooftop of the club holds any secrets of the heart, Stormbringer is chatting to Emma, who is getting increasingly focused on Stormbringer rather than Tourmaline. Quite irate in that slightly, like, vexed as if by something persistent and annoying rather than trying to get rid of him. More like, why the fuck? For trying to figure out why the fuck he's here and why he's so annoying. While that is going on, in the background, of course, Stormbringer is focused on Emma. He does not see Thornbreaker finally hit pay dirt. As you come through, there is you're going to all these women, most of whom look at you funny, but you brush it off and you move on. When you hit Tourmaline, as it were, a thick seam of Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a slight, slim woman. wearing club-going stuff, reasonably good, not designer high-end brands, but not cheap either. She is, a lot of people consider her quite pretty, very fine-boned face, very pale skin, jet black hair. She stops dancing with the guy.
Ooh, sorry guys. Yeah, we just had some quick.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting some
Something's
issues
wrong with Chris's microphone.
Yeah,
Stop. Don't.
Yeah, I muted Chris for a minute, so he's not coming through on the stream at this point.
Yeah, let me just explain to him what happened.
Yeah. For those of you just joining us, I apologize for the little technical difficulty we just had now. You think it's you?
It's Chris.
Yeah. Hello?
Oh.
You think it was you?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Chris, why don't you try saying something?
Every time he tried to talk, all I was getting was.
Yeah.
No.
Same.
Okay.
Oh, wait, now it's better.
No, I thought that was my headset causing the that's all I was hearing.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
we're good
Yes.
now.
Can you hear
We
me?
have Chris back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
thought
don't know.
my-
When did I turn into gibberish?
I had
just
just
found Tourmaline.
arrived at Tourmaline. Tourmaline.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
think she
Tourmaline's
stopped with the guy.
Yeah, so she's dancing with the guy and turns to you in confusion because she's heard her name and goes yeah. One thing that hits you when you get close to her, she reeks of perfume. This place reeks. All the women soaked in the stuff, but she is very doused in it. And she kind of looks at you, and you can smell cigarette smoke as well on her. But and she looks at you and is like, yeah, sorry, who do I know? Shouting, do I know you?
So, having actually found Tourmaline after the agony of bouncing from person to person in the crowd, Thornbreaker literally says, "Oh, thank God," and then composes himself and says, realizes before he says anything, realizes he's not entirely sure what his strategy was beyond, let's find Tourmaline. Looks around for potential support, realizes that his friends are either not present or otherwise engaged, and then turns back to Tourmaline and says,
Yeah, you look around, you see Stormbringer's found some hot young woman and is chatting away to her. He's clearly got distracted from the fucking mission.
Well, no, Chris, I should, and I think I said it when I was talking to her. He was trying to distract her to see what her reaction would be to not watching Tourmaline, but he's been watching Tourmaline.
Oh yeah, well it's identical. The initial moments of this are going to happen without you noticing. I think just because it's a packed club, but you'll be able to. But so when Thornbreaker first finds you and then is looking for support, it's like
he's on his own. Right.
Thornbreaker over there. He's clearly gone rogue, and are nowhere to be seen. So Stormbreaker will pick up on the fact that Thornbreaker has made the approach fairly within the next 20 seconds or so.
Okay, so he's on his own for the first few seconds.
Yes. So, Thornbreaker, what's your?
So Thornbreaker then turns to her and says, my name's Bill.
I don't know you, Bill.
Somebody told me... Somebody told me you were looking for something.
She looks increasingly horrified and goes, "Sorry, Bill, I don't know you," and is starting to move away from you through the crowd.
He fighting his moment of panic that he's gonna screw it up, he just reaches into his jacket pocket for the drugs that Johnny gave him and just pulls them out and sort of pathetically holds them out towards her.
Okay, can I have a wits plus empathy check from you?
Sure.
Oh my God.
Alright, that's gonna be 4 dice. Two successes.
Okay. Obviously, you completely failed to read. You completely fluffed what's going on at the moment. What you see in her reaction already present in her reaction. When you prefer the drugs, she just looks like baffled, but she is already frightened, and she's frightened of you, but it's not just a fright of you. Her body language is while she looked like she had maybe lost herself a bit in the dancing and the edge wasn't there, the edge is immediately on as soon as she's broken out of it. She looks like she's in a low-key state of terror, just as a default. And now she's seen you, that has ramped up, even though she doesn't know. She's like, it is less she's seen you and gone, oh no, it is that terrible American, I am terrified, and more a mixture of unknown guy I don't know terror, and also something else as well that maybe isn't specific to you, you're not sure. So she's just walking away from you, glancing over her shoulder in fright as you proffer drugs. Stormbringer, you see creasing on the face of the wolf-blooded, she sees something, and you go, oh shit, as you see Stormbreaker has hoved in, has just made contact, and within seconds appears to have botched it.
Oh, shit.
And Emma sees your actually no, if you wish to conceal your reaction from Emma, I would like a manipulation plus subterfuge roll.
Oh, lovely. Manipulation plus subterfuge. Give me 1 second. I gotta look that one up because I don't use that often. I have subterfuge. 1 success.
You're wrong.
So he's not, and Chris, I'm not trying to hide the surprise of what's going on. He's more of trying to show this. I'm going to turn around, and it's going to be involved with a little bit of speech, in which he's going to look at Emma and go, it looks like we have some competition. Maybe not. As soon as she starts to walk away.
When you do that, she looks at you sharply, and you get the thing. Emma may be tightly wound as a spring and ready to start battering people, but she is clearly a sharper knife than perhaps you thought. She looks at you with a very incisive stare, she's read that there is more to this than what you're saying, and then she pushes through, and she just in other words, she starts to push through the heaving crowd towards the general direction of Tourmaline and Thornbreaker.
I'm going to follow her.
Thornbreaker.
Dan, if you cause me to miss my aspiration, I'm punching you.
Your target is on the move. She is heading for the back doors out of this fucking place.
So Thornbreaker, I think, is
getting left behind from now on.
Thornbreaker has lots of emotions. He is a Cahalith. He is an emotional boy, and he's already been very overwhelmed and anxious and uncomfortable in this stupid freaking club that he doesn't want to be at. And then he takes what should have been a relatively straightforward task and seems to have spiked it into the ground. And so right now, all he feels is his fallback emotion, which is rage. And so he's sitting there holding this baggie of drugs that he has no idea what they are or what business he has having them. He hears the thump, 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 thump of the stupid music he hates. He smells obnoxious smells all around him. People are jostling into him. And he loses it. He takes the baggie of drugs, spikes it into the ground, turns to the nearest guy, and slugs him.
Hey!
Oh, shit.
Right, let's figure this one out. You turn. The nearest guy just turns and goes
Hold on. Can I just point something out before we go into this?
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I'd just like to point out that you don't have to taste human blood to death rage.
I
You
understand.
just have to smell it.
I understand. No, I have to taste
He's
it.
in
I have to
taste, not swallow. He's not at the
Yes.
top age of his smell. Normally he has to swallow. Now he merely has to
okay.
taste.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
does mean
okay.
if you punch someone hard enough and blood sputters, or someone punches you, well, no, then you'd have to punch them. Then you,
All right,
and
it's
you
not
can
smell.
taste it on your tongue. No, but it's pretty risky. So you turn. This guy goes like, "What?" And bang, and you just slug him. And of course, several things at once. Firstly, the club largely just carries on going because most people are like, they don't even notice over the noise and smells. The nearest, there's a push as you fall, people go, oh. A couple of people right up have seen it, like, whoa, what the fuck is going on, man? What the fuck is going on? This guy's like, staggered away, blinking confusedly from getting, you know,
Punched.
sucker punched. the baggie of drugs is stamped on underfoot by people. As this is going, Emma sees this and accelerates, but she does not accelerate at Thornbreaker. She is going for Tourmaline, who is getting the fuck out the club. So, firstly, Stormbringer, are you going after Emma and Tourmaline, or are you going towards Thornbreaker?
You know what? In true Stormbringer fashion, he's going to stop for a fraction of a second. So if Emma notices, I'm giving her a chance to notice. He's going to stop for a fraction of a second, look at Bill, think to himself, maybe he'll stop being such a surly little bitch if he gets this out of his system, and follows Emma and Tourmaline.
I thought you were going to say use Heavens Unleashed.
No, it takes a while to wind up to that.
Rain!
I was going to say, rain in the club!
Okay, so you're going after Emma and Tourmaline. Thornbreaker, you've punched them. They're reeling. A few people are like, what the fuck? Someone's like grabbing at you to hold you back because they're trying to split you up from the guy, even though not much fight's going. He's reeling. Are you going to keep laying about you with fists, or what's? You've lashed out. There's that horrified moment afterwards. What is your next move?
I think I'm going to make a resolve plus... I'm going to let the dice decide. I'm going to make a resolve plus composure roll, if that's all right with you, to see if he can can swallow it down, or if he's just decided this is how I'm going to feel more comfortable. Let's see here.
Thank God she's got pack awareness.
Yeah,
Alright, so that's
seriously.
4 dice.
I get ready to flip the switch. Push the button.
Who knew it would come in handy?
All right, one
So quickly.
success. So after he hits this guy and he reels, he gives him like a death stare, like, "Come on, give me a reason to hit you again."
What is your defense?
My defense.
Oh, shit.
Let's do this. Let's dance. My defense is 6.
He is trying so hard to ruin my thing for the night.
Hair closely cropped, wearing funky clothes, like, turns, swings around, like looks. He's in his late. He's like 19, maybe. Goes, what the fuck? And he's clearly drunk. I mean, he's in the club, not surprised. He swings back for you, and hits you for 1 point of bashing damage with a wild flail. Whacks into you, and people are now like more people are grabbing you, and some are grabbing him, going, "No, break it up! What the fuck?" People are trying to break the fight up.
On your teeth.
You have control. So you rolled your resolve stuff. So you are like you were doing the whole "I'm not going," but he has come swinging back at you because you the guy.
Okay, so,
I think
I'd just like to point out, Dan, dude's got a hell of a punch if he can still hit you through 6 defense.
I'm excited about it. So as this guy hauls off and actually hits Thornbreaker, Thornbreaker's just like, I never thought I'd find even a whisper of a worthy adversary among the herd. This is exciting! And he actually smiles at the guy in a very sadistic way. And he hauls off and hits him again. Shall I make a strength plus
0? But he has defense 0 because he made an all-out attack on you and spent willpower, which is one of the reasons he was able to hit you at all.
Nice.
Oh, Jesus.
You hit a guy, his reaction was like blind, fuck this guy, I'm going to fucking hit it, I'm going to deck him. And he clocked you, and it didn't really do very much.
Alright, so...
I am so glad that werewolves don't fall into death rage upon rolling an exceptional success.
Yes!
Yeah.
Unlike the olden days.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Constantly
Well, it was
rolling.
risked at the olden days. It wasn't guaranteed.
Yeah, do you know how many times I risked it with my rock?
Alright, that's going to be...
sure.
my strength plus brawl is going to be 8 dice, so I'm going to go ahead and roll. 7 successes! Kaboom!
You just knocked this dude out in one shot.
And, well, 2 shots technically. Yeah, you haul back, slam your fist in his jaw, and he drops like a sack of bricks. At this point, there's more of a circle, people pulling around you, and people stopping to, people trying to pull you back. He's down. Chaos has consumed the center of the park, which is where
In fact, the DJ has noticed the fight and put on the Mortal Kombat theme song.
So, where we're going to leave it tonight is Stormbringer. You follow out of the dank heat and misery of this club out into the cool night air. You see ahead of you, you've seen the shape of Tourmaline dash out, and you see again gracefully, as if stalking prey was in her blood. You see Emma just sloping through and going out after Tourmaline. Harmonious Flame and Johnny, you're atop the club, having got up there and picking your way through the flues and the vents. A lot of them have these they have little roofs on the top, so that the air comes out the sides and the rain doesn't go straight down. You're picking over those the heat units, the air conditioning units up here, and you're picking up, going, well, where the fuck might this be? And among all the claggy streaks of grime, pigeon shit, and the general detritus of time and moss and white stuff on the roof, you're peeking among the flues up here, and one of the ones has it's just clearly been taken off. The markings. It's got clean sweeps and as if someone's unscrewed and pulled the top off. Within the last year, probably, if not quite. You're not sure if it's weeks or months, but fairly recently. And as you go over and you give that a haul, you rick off, and inside, just on one of the things where it goes down, there's a package of grease paper, tightly packed, and you get down, you pull that out, and you pop it open, and inside, smelling of preservatives, is a formaldehyde sort of sprayed cattle heart, bull heart, with studded nails poking out of it, and tied on to several of them are threads of red string, to which are tangled these little vials, some of which have blood in them, some of which have little scraps of herbs and other things. And as you pick it, whichever you pick it up, you feel something like something in the air kind of stretch and snap as you pick it up. Then, Harmonious Flame, your pack awareness starts going blah, 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 as Thornbreaker goes into angry mode. He's not raging, but he is violent, and then you get the ping of pain, and then confusion. That mixture, the heady mixture of battle glee. Something is going the fuck on downstairs, and it's not good. Stormbringer has just tracked out. He's just you're looking over. You and Johnny looking over the roof of this club with this occult package in one hand, looking down as Stormbringer comes loping out. As you can see just down the way, this slight woman looking over, going like that. I would like perception checks from both of you just before we close this.
Okay. Roller.
This is not rolling again. Went red.
If it is refusing to roll, then are you sure? I can't see you put your thing in it at all.
Yeah, neither can I.
I don't think you actually typed it in the right channel, Ag.
Yeah,
One
you
success
put
for me,
it in
correct?
general, I think.
Okay, just one success on a perception roll for Johnny. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
And no successes from his phone. Okay, so you two, by the time you looked down,
Distracted by Thornbreaker.
yes, distracted by Stormbreaker, you look down and you see Stormbringer emerging into the light. You see this slight woman hurrying away further down the back street, looking over. Oh dear, baby just fell over and needs hugs. Harmonious Flame, you're too focused on these two figures to notice, but Johnny, you've seen someone between who got out earlier than Stormbringer did, who's turned down this one of the side alleys. So we have a sudden wailing baby in these last moments. You see the darting shape of someone shape-shifting in one of in the darkness of the side. A figure you don't recognise, it's a woman's figure, bulking up to Dalu form, having just darted sideways to come out rather than going straight up the street, coming in to basically having rushed off to try and outflank the other woman who's heading out there. So where we leave it, Harmonious Flame and Johnny Galloway have found a bullock's heart pierced with nails rammed down one of the flue chimneys of the club. Thornbreaker is standing triumphant over his fallen foe with the thrill of battle and a bunch of people going, and one of the security already coming over as they see shit break down. You've burst out into the cool air. You take it, and you see, because you've been Emma is going around, and you see her shapeshift as she crunches. Her flesh shifts, breaks, cracks. There's something off about the change. Something was different than a normal werewolf. You're not quite sure what it was, but now she is in Darling form, and she is moving to corner. You're not sure that Tourmaline has noticed this yet. Tourmaline's mostly looking straight back the street and seeing you having emerged, and is looking terrified. So what we leave it, Tourmaline is about to get sideswiped by a wolf-blooded who can change shapeshift. Thornbreaker is probably about to get clocked by the security, and everyone else is about to deal with what's about to happen in the back alley. We'll leave it there for today. Next session, we'll be picking up right where we left off and seeing how this shakes out. Before we finish up for today, it is aspirations time. So, if I can start with Harmonious Flame, going around my little clock of screens I've got in front of me.
Destroy Hawkhurst and his card doing it.
Yep.
Find the connection between the drugs and the bacillo doing it.
Yep.
And have fun with the club. Definitely did.
Yep. Stormbringer.
Okay, so learn what I let out of the cage. Didn't make progress towards that. However, I made it through the night without punching anybody in the club.
Correct.
So I get one for that. Remove the architect's claim on the land. Now, my argument for this one is going to be we are making moves toward. We know the drugs are somehow connected to him, and we're making moves towards that. So
Yep,
I don't know.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll give you that. There's enough going down, especially also you're helping a spirit who is apparently not buddies with his spirit patron. So, okay.
Thing about with these two wolf-blooded that are clearly connected to Hawkhurst.
What do you mean these two wolf-blooded?
Sorry, the one wolf-blooded and the girl.
Okay, yes, the girl is Tourmaline is connected to him somehow. The spirit expressly told you he has a claim on her, and she's yeah. Emma, you have no clue what's up with her. Okay, Thornbreaker.
All right, my first one is learn more about Hawkhurst and the Oozers. Again, I think we're making progress on that because we're seeing more players in the scene. Second one is learn more about the missing drug shipment. We did.
Yep.
And the last one is connect meaningfully with Harmonious Flame. I feel like they were connecting earlier in the night.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, they
Can we
were.
give him a bonus one for finally letting some of that rage out?
I got an exceptional success. I got one for it. And I have to say, I really misjudged the night. I didn't think it was going to be fun for Thornbringer, but, little surprises.
A beat for Thornbreaker finally losing his shit. There we go. Bonus and New Year's beat. And Johnny.
Find out more about the other Beshul in the territory. We got a name, so
Which
it's
you
progress.
have, yep.
Hang out with Stormbringer's rugby friends, which I did.
Yeah.
And investigate the drugs issue in the territory, which I also did.
Which is underway. Okay, that gives everyone 1 XP, and there are 2 beats left over.
Woohoo!
How many are we on? How many total XP are we on now?
This should be the 18th experience we've earned.
Oh,
I don't know. I just got my 4th.
Yeah. Anyway, so 1 XP all, 2 beats left over. That is it for today. So next time we'll pick up where we left off. The pack causing trouble in the club, chasing down a terrified woman who they're supposed to be convincing to indulge in her desires and sate her hunger, and have successfully delved into somebody doing occult fuckery to the club for some reason, because you now have 1 meaty cattle heart, which has been marked in the manner of old witchcraft. So, with that done, will Jimmy Gibbon get his shutter shades? Will the pack convince Tourmaline to give in to her desires, whatever the fuck those are? Desires currently to get the fuck away from the pack, as far as I can tell. Will Thornbreaker get punched in the face? Find out next time in Very Angry Dogs.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
well.